Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Today is a day of heavy hitters, but it is Texas A&M Day here at SEC Media Days. And this SEC Media Days coverage is brought to you by Aggie-owned and operated Paragon Financial Advisors, built on the values of the Aggie Network and proudly serving families and business owners nationwide. Learn more at paragon-adv.com. He's Olin. I'm David. Today is Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026. OB, we get Bama. We get Florida. We get Ole Miss. And it is for us and for the world, Texas A&M Day.
Those are some heavy hitters.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of good copy come out of today.
Yep.
Obviously, we're more interested in Texas A&M, without a doubt. And we do have a scrum coming up at noon before Mike Elko meets with the rest of the media. And
yep.
We look forward to that. But can you imagine all the stories that are going to be written about Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin from the Ole Miss perspective and all that? And anytime your coach at Alabama is involved, that's big. By the way, I got on the elevator yesterday, and when I stepped in, there was Nick Saban.
Wow!
I just hi, coach, and there are a couple other people. Stopped at the next floor, and a lady with an Auburn pen got on and saw him. She goes, "Oh my God!" And I said, "You can call him Nick."
So let's talk A&M for a moment. A couple things that came up on the show yesterday that I kind of wanted to address here today. When SEC Mike came on, he said something that we've said before. He said A&M's got to finish. Okay. On the boards this morning, I read somebody on that didn't like that. Does that mean we just got to win our last game? We won in November. We won a couple and I don't know if he phrased it like that. But my response to that is, no, we don't define success by losing your last game. Right? If you win a championship or not, that's not how I define success. There's different layers of success. But what I think I mean when I say they have to finish stronger is playing not your worst brand of football at the end of the year. Very inconsistent tell of two halves against South Carolina. Mm-hmm. I think uncharacteristic mistakes we saw against Texas and Miami. And maybe mistakes is too much, but they didn't play their best brand of football against the best brands in the college football playoffs.
I didn't think they looked that good against Samford, to be honest. I think after the LSU game, even I know they won handily at Missouri, but I just think after the LSU game, they just didn't seem to be to have the same edge.
Yeah. Now, again, if they would have won, would we talk differently? If they would have made the game-winning play against Miami, score and win in overtime? Probably, right? But offensively, they weren't as good the last two games.
All right.
Fair? Mm-hmm. And they lost. And you can say, yeah, they were better teams. Well, but now, if we're talking about elite, you've got to be your best against the elite or almost elite teams.
Right. I used to have a problem with one of the previous coaches that every time they'd lose, he'd say, that's a really good team. Right. So you're not here just to beat the bad teams or the average teams. Right. You're here to beat the good teams. And I know Mike Elko feels the same way. They do need to finish. Let me ask you this. Had they beaten Miami,
I'd felt a lot better.
And lost to Ohio State,
I would have felt a lot better. Yeah. Had they beat Tulane and lost to whoever next,
had they won a playoff game.
I don't care who against, right? Just give me a postseason win, a December win. I would have felt great.
Yeah, and then the next step would have been, well, you got to get past that first game and win, and win the second game and so on and so forth. But
and I'm sorry, Obi, to cut you off, but I'm also sorry the Texas loss to me hurts more. I know it's about bigger than Texas, but you got to give me one or the other. You got to beat Texas at the end of the year, or you got to win your playoff game.
Yeah.
It can't be both.
Which one do you want?
I want a playoff win.
Of course.
Yeah,
That's why I say.
But don't get me wrong. I want it all.
Yeah, every A&M fan, if you had one team that you want to beat the most, it's always going to be Texas.
Or the team that is in front of you getting to an SEC championship game.
Well, the one team on the schedule, you're going to say Texas. That said, like you mentioned, there are now bigger fish to fry. And if you get into the playoff, obviously that's more important. And what you want to see is not A&M just finish the season better, but finish the drive better, because they were 5 yards away from forcing overtime, or they were one defensive stop away from either forcing overtime or winning the game.
Yep. And to be, let's be very honest, OB, a lot is put on Marcel in that interception against Miami. But in a little bit, we'll get to what ifs. Mm-hmm. But what if the defense makes a play? Was it third down?
Yeah.
And he goes how long? 60?
You're talking about the Mark Fletcher.
Yeah.
I was also, what if they just held Miami to a field goal? Because
then you can kick a field goal, go to overtime.
Right.
But just make that tackle there, okay? And I remember that's roughly right when we got on the field. You were going to say.
No, I don't know if that was third down or not. That might have even been first down.
Okay.
But still,
make the tackle.
From having that long run.
Yeah. So here's a couple questions for you. Can last year's A&M success or breakthrough be a part of something bigger, or is it part of the normal cycle that we've seen with A&M with big years followed by?
That's what we find out this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to repeat myself again.
Well, it's a long off season.
If the offensive line is an effective offensive line, they're very capable of 10-2 or better and being in the playoff. And if that happens, then yes, you can say, this is last year was the first step or that launching pad to becoming that team that's expected to be in the playoff every year.
All right, for Alabama, who's going today, is 11 wins again going to be considered a failure?
I would hope not. I think Alabama fans may be getting a dose of reality.
Yeah.
Not only did they have a great coach, but there wasn't the NIL deal where other teams could compete with what Alabama was doing.
Sure.
So it's a much more level playing field. And if they're expecting Kalen DeBoer to keep doing the things that Nick Saban did, then yeah, that's not going to be enough. But if at some point they become rational, then you're looking at it and say, oh yeah, that's a good season.
For Florida, can a new coach change expectations with relatively very similar roster that they had with Billy Napier? Yeah,
we saw it here with Jimbo Fisher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Mike Elko. But I go back to Jimbo Fisher. They just come off, a 7-6 season, and Jimbo took over, and they won 9 games. Mm-hmm. And some of the games they lost, they were toss-ups, so like Clemson. So, yeah, I think that's definitely the case, can be the case.
And then the Ole Miss question. Can a program survive losing its best coach with the same quarterback and the same running back with the same expectations with a new coach?
Yeah, I think so. I'm sure we've seen it. Oklahoma. Bob Stoops retired and Riley took over and he had all those players. I think, but does I love the quarterback. We all know Trinidad Chambliss is amazing. Kwan Lacey's an exciting running back. They got some good players on defense, but I do wonder if he has, how good a total team they have.
Yep. I'm going to read you a little bit from an ESPN article that could have been written by David Nuno or Olin Buchanan. Okay. It's about college football's ifs list. Okay. And it says how title contenders can come together. What if? When we get to A&M, we know the ifs, but I'm going to tell you what ESPN wrote. Okay.
All right.
What if the portal? Oh, actually, I'm going to start off with this one. What if a older Marcel Reed is a more consistent Marcel Reed?
Well, that he becomes a Heisman contender, a true Heisman contender. Even past the Texas game, he was a true Heisman contender last year. He's probably a Heisman finalist.
Yep. If the portal delivered on an offensive line, we've talked about that all offseason.
Yeah, if it delivers, then you're looking at a 10-2 or better playoff team.
Also, if the portal delivered a defensive line.
Well, I think
Antosaka.
And Antosaka, Ryan Henderson, and C.J. Mims, those guys. Yeah, if those guys come through, then I think the A&M defense will be every bit as good, if not better, than it was last year.
If the big plays balance out, talking about the defense giving up those monstrous plays that were backbreakers at times.
Yeah, A&M's probably in the playoff without those, without giving those up.
Yeah,
I think A&M's still going to be a very explosive offensive team. They just got to reduce those big plays they've given up.
Yeah. We'll get to the rest of the what ifs for college football a little bit later. But now I think the people should know that they're actually listening to a show that we call TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Yeah, what if you were listening to that every day and let's see, which is the next one? And you wanted to know how to be a part of the show. That's not the next one.
That's not the next one. We can do it next.
What if you wanted to know?
What if you wanted to know? You would call us on the Buppy's Catering and
Bartending
hotline. That number is 979-693-1150. You can text that number. We flip the switch, and it becomes the what?
It becomes the Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line.
But our studio is mobile because of our good friend Jason Rollo, and we called this the what?
The Rollo Insurance Studio.
He's got a lot of people that works for him.
Yeah, Jason. He works for himself. Jackson, and Keith, and Morgan, and everybody else.
And the boys and the girls. Let's go around the room. Let's go left to right. Let's go.
Wait.
What?
This is the go hour.
Oh, my God. How could we forget you're on it?
Yeah, it is the go hour.
You might get kicked off in a minute. But, yes, you are on
sure I will.
I think we have Sankey coming at 8:35.
So Lucy should be showing up.
He's right there with his coffee.
Yeah.
Doesn't care about the camera. We say directly to my right. Right here, Nick Savage.
But the go hour is brought to you by the
warehouse of CC Creations. Thank you. Keep me employed.
Nick.
Unlike Matt Browning the other day.
When is a glass company going to sponsor Behind the Glass?
Don't give us ideas, Nick.
I mean, that's a...
Don't give us ideas,
Nick. That's pretty obvious. But, yeah, A&M Day. It's game day for us here, right? We got to be our best, and we're gonna get the best content we can. I'm looking forward to it.
Bro, I have sucked, okay?
Nah.
Yeah, no, let me tell you why I've sucked.
See, we were talking about you last night at dinner.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a good way.
Where'd y'all go?
Because where do we go, Callie? What was it called?
Small Giant.
Small Giant.
Small Giant, okay? Like you. You're a small giant.
I don't know about giant, but I don't know what I was saying.
You were talking about me because I think I've sucked this week.
Oh, no. Every year you're like, we crush it, and then you're like, we're not good enough. So we raise the bar, and we keep raising the bar. It's a good thing. But
you know, I live my life that way.
Yeah, I know.
But it's not a destructive behavior.
No.
For some people, I think it can be destructive, excuse me. I do it because I think there's always a little bit more we can do. This is why I suck, though. It has nothing to do with the show.
Okay.
It's freaking Tampa, Florida. I went to sleep for a good reason last night at 9:08 Texas time.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I wanted to be at my best for A&M Day. But I haven't done jack, okay? Billy goes to the beach. Olin's having mojitos.
I had a mojito last night.
Like he's partying.
At a Cuban place.
Nick is swimming a triathlon in the pool. Kay and Callie are partying. Richard is editing as he watches the Dodgers game. You guys are having fun. You're living your best life. I haven't done jack. Well, you know what I have done?
Yeah, worked out.
I have done that a few times.
Kickboxed.
I have done that a few times. No, and I was going to say, what kind of food did I have last night?
Cubano?
Yeah. I should have joined OB, but it was like late. I was like, I'm just going to get something to eat.
I went to this SEC kind of media party. The shrimp was amazing.
Oh.
And
was it out, though? I can't do public
It was out, but they
buffet
were
shrimp.
But they were bringing it out from the kitchen, and it was gone like almost immediately. And they were huge pieces of shrimp.
Yeah.
And
I like
perfectly prepared. They were awesome. They had Cuban sandwiches as well.
See, yeah,
they had empanadas.
I got to say this. I may have told you yesterday. I apologize if I did. Nick definitely heard this. I cannot do food on a tray outside where media is just gorging on, like I'm just watching. Well, I just can't do that.
They have these tongs that you used to pick a.
Yeah, but it's out, and and Florida's got the mosquitoes and the alligators.
Well,
I just can't.
They have a kitchen, just like they have a kitchen at the place where you ate. And that you think that food goes straight from the pan,
but it's
right?
not out. Just people breathing the air all over it. I'm watching these guys
like you and Lucci get along so well.
I'm watching these dudes just standing in front of it having conversation and spit bubbles popping out. I'm like, I can't have, and fish, you can't leave fish out.
Like I said, this shrimp wasn't that long. It was too good, and it was amazing. And I probably had the equivalent of about 3 shrimp cocktails, and it was, and you know what? I was unapologetic about it.
Nick, give us something to chew on for a moment.
Besides shrimp.
Yeah.
What do you think we'll learn from Elko? Anything important?
I don't know if
What's
we'll
going to
learn.
be the biggest question he gets asked over and over again?
Marcel. Something about Marcel's development, and he's going to get sick of talking about it. Or the schedule. He loves talking about that. He doesn't love talking about it. He loves responding to that. Come on, guys. It's the SEC. It's still, regardless of a easy SEC schedule, still a top 10 schedule in the country. I feel like I'm talking like a drill sergeant.
I'm okay with it. You should keep that when Sankey shows up.
I get over and under how many questions I get to Sankey? 2?
2.
Yeah.
2 for sure.
Obi?
Well, first of all, none for me.
All right, let's hit a break so we can be on time. Obi, you don't get to interview Sankey, I think. I don't think you do. Maybe you will. We'll find out. But let's just say you do.
Okay.
And he really loves talking to you.
Yeah.
We have a lot in common. Music, football, tall. We should go out to lunch sometime.
Yeah, maybe we should be talking about food. He asked for some recommendations. I said, well, if you're in town, the next time you're in town, you want to have some amazing Texas barbecue, some of the best Texas barbecue you could ever hope to have.
Yep.
Let me take you down to 1775. We're going to head towards Snook. Not going to go all the way, but just going to be on the left, and we're going to go, and I'm going to say, Greg, I'm going to introduce you to this succulent brisket and these amazing pork ribs and this incredible jalapeno cheese sausage. I'm going to say, you look like you're in shape, Greg. So how about some of this smoked turkey?
Yeah.
And, being from, if you like pulled pork, they can do that too. And, Greg, by the way, even though you let Texas into the SEC, we're going to let bygones be bygones. And, hey, try some of this queso mac and cheese. It'll change your life.
True story to Brad and Brandon. I was on an Arkansas radio show yesterday, and they said, hey, where should we go eat when we go to College Station? It's been a long time. Said 1775. And you can learn more at 1775txbbq.com or call them up, 979-492-6241. It is 1775, and
it's good. It's really good.
Hey everyone, David Nuno here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it. Hey friends, David Nuno here for the Association of Former Students, and have you checked out the latest issue of the Texas Aggie magazine? The May through June issue is a special Aggie Spirits issue that includes all things Aggie: wine, beer, mead, spirits, and much, much more. And the team at the Association of Former Students searched far and wide for Aggie-owned businesses, breweries, wineries across the state, the country, and even the world. That's right, the globe, baby. And as much as could be found has been compiled into the magazine for the Aggie Network. Now, normally, the Texas Aggie magazine is available only to Century Club members. However, this issue is available to everyone. So to read the issue and explore giving to receive future issues, Visit tx.ag/TexasAggie. That is tx.ag/TexasAggie. Again, don't miss the special Aggie Spirits issue of the Texas Aggie to explore all things Aggie: wine, beer, mead, spirits, and much, much more. It is tx.ag/TexasAggie. Check it out.
All right, so we will probably keep this there's no probably to it. We need to keep this a short segment because Greg Sankey is going to be joining us around 8:30 here on TexAgs Live, so we'll try to hit a break before that, which I know means a short segment. All right, OB, let's pretend you're going to interview Greg Sankey.
Okay.
All right. What kind of question would you, if you put your reporter hat on, which I know you wear at least 60 hours a week, what would you want to know?
Well, have you had any more discussions with Tony Petitti about coming to an agreement on playoff expansion?
Yep.
What kind of feedback have you gotten, if any, about y'all's stance of making sure that the strength of schedule element is added into the decision of who gets in the playoff? And do you have any idea how that should be, how that should work? What else would I ask about? If you had to go to Plan B, was that really viable? I mean, wouldn't that take the SEC out of March Madness and the College World Series? And and then do you still feel like the Southeastern Conference in football is the strongest conference? Because, as we know, the Big Ten has won the last three.
Right.
So, how would you argue that the SEC is still the strongest football conference? I'll just come off the top of my head.
I also want to know, he's not going to answer this, but are they actively talking to teams to join the SEC?
I bet they have a list of teams, and they probably, someday maybe it'll work out.
Maybe,
like that.
Yeah, I feel, and I'm going to actually ask Sankey this, I don't have optimism anything's going to work out anytime soon. I really don't. It could be 4 years, 5 years, the way I look at it. And part of my reason for it is there's this optimism this week. Hey, look, the Senate bill, we're changing some things to appease the SEC and the Big Ten. And then the other conferences are like, well, wait, we want this. And there's a timeline.
Maybe we should ask him exactly, hey, can you tell us exactly 2 or 3 of the things you're steadfastly against.
Right.
And explain it to us like we're kids, because we kind of are.
I really do believe you could probably figure something out, a framework, in 36 minutes. Type in what every conference wants. Okay, boom, 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 boom on ChatGPT. And all right, what's the most sustainable model for the next 5 years? Pfft, done. It's over.
Why can't the all the conferences come together and agree to have a commissioner and everybody be under the? Well, I guess technically they're supposed to be under the same umbrella in the NCAA, but are you really?
Right. Yeah, I feel okay. We got to hit a break, but I feel like those are things that he can't answer today. But I believe he's really good at answering questions.
What about that SEC officiating?
We'll definitely ask about that. Let's talk about Rollo Insurance. Those officials may need some kind of insurance if they lose their job. No, I'm kidding. Headquartered in College Station on Highway 6, Rollo Insurance shares our community values. They're an independent agency that works for you, not their shareholders. Their team provides objective consultation across all insurance lines available in Texas and beyond. Join thousands of Aggies who trust Rollo with everything that matters most to them. When local matters at home, like severe weather or regional economic shifts, Rollo agents understand the impact firsthand because they live in Bryan College Station. They'll know what it is or how to take care of you. That's why so many local families trust Rollo Insurance. That is their first call. The difference is real. Call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That's 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs.
Hey everyone, David Nuno of TexAgs Live, and I'm here with Brandon Moreau of Brazos Valley Floor and Design. They're a family-owned business, and Brandon used to work for the A&M football team, the Texans, you name it. Brandon, tell us a little bit about Brazos Valley Floor and Design.
Yeah, like I said, family business. We started in 1999. It was in a small feed store, and about 4 years later, my dad decided he wanted to grow the business and kind of focus on that. So we're in the location we are at now, and we have a large showroom with salespeople with designer experience, a lot of stocking power, and we catered a lot to residential builders, and we do a little commercial work as well.
Tell me about your other company as well, Premier Countertop Design.
Yeah, Premier Countertop Design is right there on site, so it's kind of a one-stop shop. People can come by, they can look at their slabs that they're going to cut, they're going to compare it to their cabinet colors, their backsplash that they're going to do at our flooring store, and we have a lot of digital. We're doing a lot of digital stuff. We're templating, water jet, laser measuring, all different things like that.
So tell me a little bit about what sets you guys apart from the rest of the competition.
I think just being here in the community for 27 years in business, and our vendors that we have the relationships with, the pricing we can get because of how much we can buy in stock and things like that. And then as far as the countertop business, it's just the way we can be precise with what we do.
All right, there you have it, guys. Check out the website, bvflooranddesign.com and premiercountertopdesign.com.
I'm Wes Mangan, and I live on a piece of property with my wife and 2 boys and several animals. I work in oil and gas, and I travel a lot, and so when I come home, it's like my sanctuary. I get to see Lauren and the boys, and it's been just a perfect fit for us, and it's really improved our family time. And this is the first land I'd ever purchased, so dealing with the land side of things and dealing with Capital Farm Credit was super easy for us through the whole process. I definitely feel like with Capital Farm Credit, together we are better.
As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That is at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. Billy Lucci joining us here on the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. This SEC Media Days coverage is brought to you by Paragon Financial Advisors. Billy, good morning, buddy.
Noonitis, how are you?
Good. I'm just going to say this before Greg Sankey gets here publicly. Cuban food back-to-back days from Billy Lucci. David.
Is it Cuban or is it Colombian?
Columbia is the name of the ship that they came to the United States on.
In 1905?
Yes. Yeah, it's Cuban.
You know how I knew that?
Because you read it on the wall.
1905 salad, and there was a 1905 cocktail.
Yeah.
So.
Did you try the cocktail? Or the salad?
No, I neither, actually.
Okay.
Salad looked good. It looked to me like an Olive Garden salad, to be honest. I don't know what the big deal was.
Billy, a couple minutes ago with OB, I remember actually asked Commissioner Sankey this, but it felt like heading into SEC Media Days, there was no optimism at all for this Congressional Protect College Sports Act to pass. Then we get here, and then it seems like people are writing like, hey, there's actually a chance. And there's also a chance that the SEC secedes. And I just don't think any of that is, I think it's all on the table, but I don't think it's possible right now. I think we're still ways away from a resolution.
Yeah, I do too. And everyone's just, everyone's just, we're getting the commissioner.
We're getting Sankey.
So.
Anyway, at the end of the day, I think there's a lot at play. And we'll talk to Commissioner Sankey about that as he makes his way here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Commissioner Sankey, thank you so much for joining us. How are you, sir?
Well, thank you. Good to be with you. Thanks for making the trip to Tampa.
Thank you.
Always. How's it? How are you? What's been the feedback on Tampa? I've actually loved it.
Positive to me. We've never had a waterside view for SEC football media days, and it's our first time in the Sunshine State. We're here in large part because Dallas went so well a few years ago. We kind of went to the the western side, and we've never been in Florida, maybe a little bit deeper in the south and east. And look at Radio Row, full hallways and a lot of activity. So positive feedback, and we're doing more in Tampa as we try to figure out geographic opportunities for different events. So it was the right time and right place for us.
Commissioner Sankey, as we were preparing for SEC Media Days, there was a lot of talk about this Protect College Sports Act, that it's probably not going to happen with the timing, with the recess coming up soon. And then kind of the days leading up to it, a little bit more optimism. What can you share with us about the latest of potential agreement / it's still a lot more debating, if you will?
Well, there's debating taking place. In fact, I was on the phone at like 9:30 last night, just receiving some updates. And so we're very appreciative of the effort and the energy and the attention. And I think that's a product of the work that's been done over time to help educate members of both the House and the Senate. The White House obviously has an interest in addressing issues present in college sports. But, there are different perspectives, and there are two sides of the aisle and a set of views. There are influences from the outside that have guided development of the Protect College Sports Act. I thought when we were in the House, the SCORE Act was pretty focused on the direct issues and providing authority to make rules, where the Protect College Sports Act makes those rules. And so that's why it's important to get it right up front. Once Congress acts, if it's able to act, it's not like in 2 years, if there's something wrong here or there, there's going to be a lot of will or excitement to come back to it. The attitude will be, well, we solved your problems. We've got, Iran, we've got the economy, we've got taxes, we've got whatever else to deal with.
So this sense of urgency you feel right now, obviously, it's probably, I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong, it eats up so much of not just your job, but other conference commissioners. And what is there any level that you can allow yourself to get frustrated, or do you have to almost be a robot at this point? You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're asking your observation and your question are very insightful. So following me.
So what I was going to say is, is there something that you don't mind, saying like, this is what frustrates me the most? Is it how the heck did we even get here, or is it the outside influences? It makes it so difficult, or
all of the above?
The fact that you're now a politician as well.
Well, your first observation was about time. And at dinner last night, we were having a conversation with some staff that this is like another full-time job on top of running the conference. And our campuses probably feel that way. But that's a responsibility. And I saw back in 2015 when I took over that we were going to be in D.C. I actually recommended our first presidents and chancellors meeting where I was the commissioner that we hire a government relations firm. Not because we had something immediate, but because we needed to build relationships. And it turns out I was exactly right. Yeah, it's frustrating, but you do have to be a robot. Like, I can't walk in and pound the table and point fingers and lecture. I do think outside influences, those who have their own interests or that have access, have used that effectively. So in one way you respect that, but it does create a distraction. I think one of the frustrations for me is this effort to create this villainous perspective. Like, we're the ones that shouldn't be listened to. And so once we saw the bill, we were not involved in drafting the Protect College Sports Act. So when we were in Destin and it was introduced, that was our window to provide commentary. We did that the first day on media rights and independent decision-making, the second day to say, hey, as we look at this, we don't support elements. And then we've provided feedback consistently. I think the next week we provided an extensive red line of edits we've suggested. And then we came to a point where I kind of took the pen and said, we just need a common sense explanation. And so we had 10 common sense issues. That's how it was labeled, common sense improvement.
I'm a big fan of that in a big room.
The way I described it was like, I said, we need to write the Coors drinking, blue collar explanation. That's my history. I mean, grew up with a father who's a welder. So let's just not let the lawyers and legislators write this. Let's just be really clear on, like, we want everybody to have the same set of rules, not state by state. That seems a simple principle. It doesn't have to be everything. It just has to be in key areas. And those are improvements that I think are common sense that can be addressed. And we appreciate the work and attention being given to try to make this a better circumstance, a better piece of legislation.
And David, I know you've got something, but I just wanted to transition right into that of what I think maybe you would love to otherwise be sitting here talking about today or this week as you make the rounds. And one of the things I would think would be the new coaches in the conference. It's a large group. It's a young group. How excited are you? Because obviously the on-field product still trumps all, right? I mean, we want the league to stay where it's been. And how fired up are you about the new faces in the league and some of the hires your conference teams have made?
People think sometimes you have outsized influence in this role, but the job is to work with those who are hired on our campuses. And I've enjoyed each of the interactions. We haven't played any games, and, in the season things get tough. But we had an in-person meeting in early February with our head coaches and ADs together, and the opportunity to spend time with the new coaches is incredibly beneficial. And you have a little bit of one-on-one time, whether you're on a bus or sitting next to somebody at dinner or, outside a meeting room, just to talk about what their vision is immediately and then long term. And then in Destin a little bit. There's so much happening in Destin, you don't have a lot of time. And here a little bit of one-on-one time as well. And you can feel the energy, and I look forward to how that impacts the conference in a positive way.
And my final one, David. My biggest, I love the 9-game schedule. I love being able to see, Georgia has famously never come to Kyle Field.
Right.
15 years.
I'm aware of that. Reality.
15 years in the SEC for A&M, only 16 in the Big 12, if you can believe that.
No, I actually have told people that. There's like this forgetfulness. I know we're coming up into, you've been a great SEC member.
It's
we're going to flip the page and say it's longer than the Big 12.
So with that said, I love the schedule and how it lays out for the athletes and the fans now. My biggest concern, I think you kind of said it, I don't know if you said disagreeable or something with the way the meeting went back around the time of Destin. How concerned are you? Rate your concern level on the CFP committee and properly factoring in this 9 game, because everyone talks about SEC bias. I think outside of this footprint, there is a massive anti-SEC bias, even like you kind of alluded to with the bill.
Right.
And to me, that's my biggest concern is the CFP getting it right, because this is a massive change for the league.
I think we have to look at short-term and long-term, and then I think we have to look at decisions that are right inside the SEC, and then that's attached to. And so I believe, as you really introduced, Billy, the move to 9 games is exactly the right step for the conference as a conference. And keep in mind, I'm being asked questions about, hey, do you think about being more independent, stepping away? Well, that's about independent decision-making, right? So playing 9 games, having annual rivalry games played that are critically important, that draw people in, that are part of the passion, and not separating those so they're played every other year, which would have happened in an 8-game schedule, or having kind of a gerrymandered, so we can talk about congressional issues, a gerrymandered schedule, or maybe somebody has 2 annual opponents, somebody else has 1, maybe somebody has none. The 9-game schedule within the conference was the right step. The issue is the attachment to the college football playoff, and we went into Destin, we heard from CFP leadership and some of their analytics advisors, and it didn't provide the clarity of answers that our membership wanted. Now, I think the CFP has made progress in its metrics. I think it still has a ways to go for us to appreciate the level of football played in this league. And it's like, we'll get to the end of the season, and you'll hear from some of our coaches, well, go to Vegas and look at the odds makers, and they'll tell you who wins. But I think we all know that's based on balancing money. That's not exactly that is a competitive analysis with limits. But then you talk to NFL scouts who talk about the speed and the athleticism. I think our depth has been affected in the NIL era a bit, but it's a different reality. And in fact, we have officials that come from other conferences who've worked for a long time in some of our colleague conferences who choose to spend their officiating time here and say, it is a different level. I mean, over and over you hear that, and that has to be respected. Now, the issue we're going to have is accumulating losses because we're not playing mid-level FBS teams. That's the concern. The selection committee has to respect the difference. It has to respect the difference, in my view. Now, will it? I don't know. And then that will drive our decision-making. That's where, okay, we may have a short-term issue, but long-term, as you look at the college football playoff, the format size, we'll have an opportunity to make those decisions, and we'll be in a bit of a learning experience. I still have confidence we'll have multiple teams participating just because of the rigor of our schedule and the ability for teams to rise to the level of a playoff consideration team and a playoff selection team.
So just to follow that up before we close out, coaches' thoughts on this, they're worried about the 9-game season, obviously, for what it means. Could that help your thoughts on expansion of the playoffs to a bigger size based on how the next year or two go?
I think it'll be a factor for our membership, certainly. And we've said 16 is the right next step. On Monday I spoke. We don't have all the information needed to expand beyond 16. We could move to 16, and we understand, at least we understand in the SEC, media rights, attachment to the regular season, decisions that would follow. 24, I have no idea what the media value is. And that's really important. Where we place the games then interacts with the media value. And we have conference championship games, decisions will need to be made there, where Army-Navy's played. Right. And that's become a very prominent issue in D.C. Like every time I travel there, I have a conversation about Army-Navy. January 1 is an important day. That's a clear day for college football. Yeah. And this notion that, like the American Football Coaches Association threw out without consultation, that the season ends January 8th. Think about the domino effect backward of that, where you've got NFL games played on Saturday beginning in mid-December. You're only going to have a semifinal game on January 1. And, oh, by the way, when January 1's on a Sunday, we move everything to Monday the 2nd. Right. So you're going to play semifinals on the 2nd and then a championship game on the 8th in two different 3 different geographic locations, it just doesn't work. And so those are the things that have to be well thought out. The 9-game schedule this year, the selection process may alter our thinking, but we really need some key information before we just jump to a much different playoff format.
Commissioner, thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Appreciate the conversation.
Any good concerts this offseason yet?
Saw Alan Jackson's final concert.
Oh, you went to that?
Yeah,
wow, that's perfect.
Pretty cool. He brought George Strait out to play with him at the end. That was a special night. They had like an hour-long lightning and rain disruption, but he played for 2 hours, so kind of a privilege to be there. Saw Kenny Chesney at the Sphere.
Okay.
Guys from Third Day, Christian Southern Rock Group played Red Rocks. I had not been to a full concert at Red Rocks. I'd been to one that was interrupted by lightning. And that's just an incredible venue. So,
it is.
We hit it hard there for about 2 weeks, my wife and I.
It's funny because I canceled on Chesney a couple weeks ago. Red Rocks is my favorite. And I was watching that Alan Jackson one on social media going, why the heck am I not there?
Yeah, it was incredible. Really, and in fact, it kind of overtook downtown Nashville. It was really, really special to be invited and be a part of that.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, appreciate you. Good luck this week.
I missed Bon Jovi last week in Madison Square Garden. Work took over.
He's back.
I couldn't travel, so I had to eat the tickets, unfortunately. So I missed that one.
We're on the same page as summer with concerts.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, there's something special about the Aggie Network. It's built on trust, relationships, and people looking out for each other, and that's exactly what Aggie-owned and operated Paragon Financial Advisors bring to the table. Their headquarters is in College Station. They serve individuals, families, and business owners nationwide with independent, fee-only fiduciary advice. So whether you're preparing for retirement or growing your investments, building your business, or planning for eventual sales of that business, Paragon's going to work alongside you every step of the journey. No commissions, no sales products, just personalized financial planning and investment management. You can learn more and get a complimentary consultation at paragon-adv.com. Paragon Financial Advisors, Aggie-owned, independent, serving clients nationwide.
Everybody, David Nuno here from TexAgs, here with some of our new friends from Frog Slayer. We've got the CEO, Ross Morrell, and the VP of Revenue, Jacob Stone. Ross, I want to start off with you. Who is Frog Slayer? What do you all do?
Yeah, Frog Slayer is a custom software, AI and automation company. We're based here in College Station. We've got about 50 employees right here, almost all Aggies. We've been doing this since 2005, about 21 years. Really what we do is we partner with business owners of growing businesses. And our goal is to come in, help them actually realize the promised technology in their company so they can create a company that is worth more than is tomorrow, that is today, and run a better business.
Jacob, I do want to ask you, what's different about Frog Slayer's approach when it comes to AI?
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't just do AI, we do AI right. And so what that means is we embed ourselves inside of our client's team, and we help them plan, build, and ship solutions that they can deploy to a production environment that anyone can use.
All right, Ross, I've got to ask you, why the name Frog Slayer?
Yeah, it's an old riff off Mark Twain quote. So he said, the hardest thing you got to do today is eat a frog. It's best to do it first thing in the morning. So that's kind of our ethos of doing hard things first. And it's also a nice tie-in to Gig.
Yeah, I love that. Jacob, let's close out. Where can we all find Frog Slayer?
Yes, you can find us online at frogslayer.com.
All right, thank you very much to both of you, Ross and Jacob. Check out Frog Slayer.
All right, final segment of the Go Hour presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. It is TexAgs Live, and this SEC Media Days coverage is brought to you by Paragon Financial Advisors. Billy Lucci still with us for a couple more minutes before we go into the 9 o'clock hour. And Billy, I don't know about you, but look, there was not a lot that Commissioner Sankey could have told us, but I think when he starts answering questions, he's really good about going deeper than surface level and giving you a little bit of his thought process behind it. I don't know if you heard anything I asked.
You talk about his thought process.
No, I think he doesn't go surface level when there's not that much he can give us.
Yeah.
But he doesn't go surface level with what he gives us.
Yeah, it's not, you don't feel like you're sitting there talking to I said earlier, to a politician.
Yeah.
You don't get, coaches give more quote unquote coach speak than he does. He tells you how he's feeling. You can get into, I wanted to ask, that's why I wanted to ask, are you frustrated? What's frustrating you? Because I knew he would answer that.
Yeah.
A lot of people won't in that situation. So I always appreciate, he's got a great job. He's got a really tough job. He's got a thankless job. He's got a job that is an awesome job in terms of like the visibility being that important in one of the most popular sports in the world, in the most popular conference in that sport, the most dominant there's a lot of good, there's a lot of tough that comes with that as well. And I think most fan bases in the SEC feel like A&M, where they, just like he laughed kind of, well, I've heard about the Georgia thing, and I'm sure he has, and I'm sure a lot from the A&M side. So he's got coaches that are often unhappy with him, probably don't say a lot when they are happy, but 16 coaches, 16 ADs, 16 universities, 16 fan bases. So I doubt there's ever a time where he's made everyone happy at once, including Aggies. So I get where he's at, but I've always enjoyed, from day one, I've enjoyed talking to him. And by the way, both on air and where he'll really be honest with you. And, again, like he's not just sitting here leaking state secrets to everyone, but just I've had some long conversations with him away from this where, he's just really insightful and informative. And like he and I talk concerts, we talk travel, like he's just like everyone else, just, sometimes you talk about things about life and not sports with whether it's coaches, commissioners, or whatever. It's a process of getting to know these people, and people love that at times. Oh yeah, David knows these people. He's a good friend. He knows, and then at times they hate it as soon as they perceive that it's something done wrong to A&M, or if you're a Bama fan, or if you're a Tennessee fan, or whatever. But it's part of the process. And after 15 years of this now, and he's been the commissioner for most of that. And I think it's been a fun process getting to know him and some of these, like some of the SIDs and the people that work in this conference. It's cool. It's fun.
Thank you, Billy. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. I think we're going to run my interview with Aaron Murray, unless we get somebody else. It's TexAgs Live. All right, Kate, you're allowed to tell me how long was that music? How long did we go? A minute?
About a minute and a half.
Okay. You sounded like you're a robot. It's TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. And today's SEC Media Days coverage brought to you by Paragon Financial Advisors. They're Aggie-owned, independent, fee-only fiduciary firm serving families and business owners nationwide. Visit paragon-adv.com. All right. So the 9 o'clock hour could be one of those that we just figure it out as we go. All right. So right now what we'll do is for our radio audience that hasn't subscribed to TexAgs.com, you missed out on this interview when it was published yesterday. Here's my conversation with Aaron Murray, former Georgia quarterback and SEC Network analyst.
All right, welcome back, our good friend Aaron Murray, back with the SEC Network. I mean, I know you've been doing a lot of different stuff. You're still doing the Sirius XM, but ESPN, and now doing back to SEC Network, right?
Yeah, back to SEC Network. So I'm really excited to be back in the conference and covering the SEC week in and week out. And I've loved my role with ESPN. I've covered some really great games. And last year did a mixture of SEC games on ESPN, ESPN2, some Big 12 games. But as we know in the SEC, like the energy in the stadiums, the excitement, just the overall intensity is just a little bit different, which makes my job easier. When you go into a stadium and it's a ranked SEC game or two ranked teams, it's just the juices, the storylines. So it's selfishly, like I said, it makes my job a little bit easier week in and week out. So excited and hopefully get back to College Station. I've had two great games there over the past 5 years at a Auburn game there, I think about 5 years ago, which was special to be a part of that, and another one as well. So more opportunities to get there in other great spots.
So I nerded out with Aaron right before this interview. Billy's going to make fun of me, but you've done how many half Ironmans?
So I've done about a year and a half ago, my wife convinced me to do a marathon. Then we ran our second marathon in March of this year.
Okay.
And I had a buddy of mine say, started talking to me about this Ironman world. I was like, why not? So I had 9 weeks post-marathon to get ready for the 70.3. So it was like every day swimming, biking, obviously a little bit of running, but I was in good running shape to do, get ready for it. And I did it in Chattanooga. And
That's
just
a hilly one, right?
Very hilly, about 2,400 feet of elevation gain just on the bike, and absolutely loved it. I mean, fell in love with it. So now
it's a great community.
Oh, the biking community is so awesome. I mean, even down here in Tampa, I've had buddies reach out to me. I ended up bringing my bike, and I went for a bike ride on Monday, and now we're going on another bike ride on Thursday, which is great. So it's a great community, in great shape. Lost a bunch of weight, so I'm feeling really good. And so the goal is next year do another 70.3 and then a full 140 in the summer.
All right, well, that's a lot on your plate, dude.
It's a lot on my plate, a lot of training. But what's fun is I did some cycling with the UJ cycling team. Because I'm close to Athens, and I got hooked up with this SEC cycling club.
Yeah.
And now, especially with my role, I'm going to be trying to hit up all the cycling teams for each university to go on a ride either on Friday or Saturday before the game. So for those Aggies out there that are in the cycling or the cycling, if y'all have a cycling team, if I'm in College Station, would love to join y'all on a Saturday or Friday ride.
I may join you for that. I did High Rocks this past year. I did a couple of sprint tries, but my last half Ironman was in 2021.
Oh, nice.
And, I'm not proud of that one. All right, so that particular one. So one of my issues with Ironman was I got so lean and skinny that I didn't get a lot of muscle.
Skinnier than you already
I was 165 pounds. I'm 184 now.
Okay.
So I bulked up to 190, did that Ironman. And I was killing it on the swim. I killed it on the bike. Yeah. I got to the run, and it was my first ever DNF, and I couldn't finish. My knee, I had an injury.
You want to be lean. I mean, I started off training at 205. I did the first one at 197. I'm down to about 193, 194 now. Okay. My goal is by next year to be more in that 185 range.
185 range.
It's just so much easier, especially because the one I'm Chattanooga again, and then Lake Placid is going to be over 8,000 feet of elevation on the bike gain during the race. So like obviously the heavier you are, the harder it is to get up those hills. You're having to push more watts to keep up the speed. It's like Lance Armstrong's not. I mean, he's 150, 160. Like a lot of those guys are. You're not pushing 220 up a hill.
Yeah, it's different.
It's different.
It
so like
feels different.
I want to get to, and my body feels good. My joints feel good for the running as well. So. I would love to be more in that 180, 185 range.
All right, so before my audience gets mad, football talk.
Yes.
Quarterback evaluations. All right, let's talk about Marcel.
Yep.
And one of the things that I bring up often is people look at Arch's last few games and like, oh, dude, this guy's going to be incredible, which he is. Yep. They look at Marcel's last two games. Oh, I don't know. And I feel like there's a complete body of work to look at with both guys to kind of maybe, all right, yes, these guys may be going in this direction, but don't let the last 2 games be the only thing we talk about.
No, 100% agree. I mean, you look at Marcel for the majority of the season, and it was tremendous. Obviously, the athlete he was, and I'll say this even in the beginning of the season, you always look at quarterbacks in critical situations. How do you perform in third down? How do you perform in 2-minute drives? How do you perform at the end of games? And, he was making big-time plays when you need him. I mean, I'll never forget that drive versus Notre Dame in the 4th down pass. Like, that's the type of quarterback that I want. A guy in crunch time that's not afraid to make the big plays, that doesn't shy away from them. And I think Marcel showed that last year. Yes, where there's some technical things on the end of the stretch that got exposed a little bit, 100%. So, but as you alluded to, the body of work was tremendous. And I think his athleticism as well just is so good for college football if you have that from a quarterback standpoint. My only hesitation with him heading into the season is new offense, new offensive coordinator. How fast does that gel? But I would still want them there to be slight growing pains early and finish strong. Because at the end of the day, I think you want to put yourself in a position as a football team to be playing your best football late. So I do think that is a little bit of the problem of, those 2 quarterbacks specifically. Arch seemed like he got better. And when I talk about Texas, I tell you this all the time. Arch was not the main issue.
Yeah.
Offense line was horrendous. I mean, I was watching a group of 5 game beginning of the season, and he's getting hit left and right. I'm like, dude, like, what are we doing here? So I think for Marcel was like, dude, you got the running backs, you got the receivers, you got the offensive line. You didn't have the same kind of excuse that maybe Arch had to work through during the season with some of the difficulties on offense. But I love both quarterbacks and looking forward to see what they can do this year.
What do you think Isaiah Horton brings to Marcel? Look, losing KC hurts, right? But
yes,
I think Mario Craver's going to take another big step.
He's a great receiver, too.
Great receiver.
Yes.
But you can bring in an ex-receiver like Horton that they did not have last year.
No, I mean, be able to move that guy and create those matchups and just throw it up. I mean, that's...
All right, that's part of my conversation with Aaron Murray. Go to TexAgs.com for the rest of that. Right now, let's talk about a little LSU football with our buddy Matt Moscona. You can catch his work all over Louisiana, the host of After Further Review. What's up, buddy?
David, great to see you as always, man. Thanks for the invite.
So people don't know this. I may have said it on the air before, but I love to pick your brain about the industry. I think you do a great show, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on today, because I think tomorrow Ole Miss fans are going to be tuned in to what Lane has to say. But
I think so.
How much is LSU paying attention to what Ole Miss, like, it's storyline, but it's not, I guess, from your perspective?
Yeah, I think there's massive intrigue with what happens in Oxford. I think both ways these 2 programs, right, wrong, good, bad, they are going to be running at parallels for as long as Pete Golding's at Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin is at LSU. I think that's very natural, and I think deep down LSU fans and I think Lane Kiffin are probably hoping Ole Miss takes a step back.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously from a competitive standpoint, LSU wants Ole Miss to take a step back, but also I think Lane Kiffin, everyone has an ego. I think he probably is looking, saying, if they go 8-4, well, they'll know the reason that it was 11-1 a season ago was me and my coaches, and we're not there anymore, and now they're taking a step back. So there's going to be that intrigue, but I think the other thing too to keep an eye on today. Trinidad Chambliss has been asked multiple times about his decision to stay at Ole Miss, and his answers have been different.
Okay.
So, David, I'm just going to tell you, man, it was a very real thing where Chambliss and Lacey and a lot of those guys were coming with Lane Kiffin.
Okay.
And when they beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, the portal opened the next day, and, well, they weren't leaving. I mean, they were playing, preparing for a quarterfinal game. And I think what that caused Kiffin and his whole staff to have to sort of readjust and assert how they were going to build their roster. But I'll be fascinated because Trinidad's going to be asked about that today.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be fascinated to see what he says, because you'll be able to now compare 3 or 4 different answers to the same question to see how consistent they might have been.
I don't know what to think about LSU, okay, because there's a part of me that's like, Lane Kiffin, everywhere he goes, quarterbacks do great.
Yeah.
He's going to win 10 games. But when there's a brand new roster and the schedule, the 9-game SEC schedule, what does 8-4 do to LSU? Ooh. Does it do anything? Like, I'm not projecting 8-4, but what if?
Yeah. Oh, and that's possible.
Yeah.
Look at the schedule. I mean, it's the SEC. Everybody's schedule's hard. But just look at September. You open with Clemson, then you get Louisiana Tech. Then it's at Ole Miss, home against A&M. Is 2-2 in that stretch possible?
Yeah.
If 2-2 in that stretch is possible, okay, October's a relative breather, but then you go to November, Bama, Texas, at Tennessee, at Arkansas. Is 2-2 in that stretch possible?
Yeah.
Well, now you're 8-4. Like, yeah, that's a possible thing, man. And when you invest what LSU did in this roster, and I know people have said $40 million for, like, I'm here to tell you, Coach, it's closer to 50 or beyond, depending on incentives and structures and things like that. You spend that on the roster, nobody has told Lane Kiffin no for anything. I mean, they've given him every coach, assistant, NIL player, whatever they wanted. Whatever he's wanted, he has gotten. And all that buy-in means you're going to have outsized expectations. So 8-4, that's a disaster this year.
And if I remember correctly, last time you were on with us, there hasn't been that many conversations with the local media, right? With Lane?
Zero.
Yeah.
He's done his press conferences during spring ball, but he has not had a single one-on-one sit-down with the local media. Of course, he did the now infamous Vanity Fair piece. He spoke to Chris Lowe. So he's done some of that, some national media. Was on one of the Barstool shows, was on Tyrann Matthews' podcast. But I think Lane, I think he looks at the local media, and again, it's early. It could evolve. I'm just giving you an early read on it. I think he looks at the local media and says, well, I don't really need that because if I win, they're going to love me anyway.
Yep.
And if I lose, they're going to hate me anyway. So what does it matter? But we'll see how that evolves.
He's got a point, though, right? Like, local media for sure, but in a place like Baton Rouge, if you're winning, they're going to have your back.
Yes. The flip side, so let me give you an example like with Brian Kelly. So the flip side is what happened to BK. So LSU loses the A&M game, and we all know the scene in the second half. It's so weird, by the way, David. Like, you think about how quickly things turned. LSU was winning that game at halftime. And in a half of football, Brian Kelly's fired. It was incredible. But the conversations that started happening in the third and fourth quarter of that game in Tiger Stadium as the stands emptied and the suites emptied was, is there an appetite to buy him out? And Scott Woodward, the AD at the time, was sort of polling people, is there an appetite? Like, should we retain him? And Brian just didn't have defenders. People didn't come to his defense, and so it made making that decision easier. So that's what Blain Kiffin's not getting fired, but my point is, like, having people defend you in those moments can eventually be important. And Brian Kelly didn't have enough of those, and Blain Kiffin's got them now, but he hasn't lost the game yet.
Why do you think Marcel has had so much success against LSU? And then, he'd struggled against Texas 2 years in a row, but against against LSU specifically, he's had a lot of success.
For Blake Baker's defense, there's this narrative, and it's hard to argue against, is the struggle with the running quarterback. But I don't think it's specifically designed quarterback runs. It's players that can extend a play and can be dynamic, extending a play. This clip you're showing right there is a great example. There was a pass rush. He was able to move the pocket, and he made a beautiful throw. Like, that's been the issue. And I think Marcel's obviously very good at that. Like, that's not a design run. That's a quarterback who saw an opening and went and made a play.
Yep.
Trinidad Chambliss gave LSU's defense fits last year with the ability to extend plays. Diego Pavia did the same thing. So, look, I'm not an X and O guy. Like, I can't tell you what Blake Baker's defense would cover to. I mean,
it's not your thing. Yeah,
he's a really smart guy. I'll figure it out. But that's why, and it's not unique to Marcel. It's that quarterback skill set.
Sam Leavitt, if he's on, he's on. But the fact that he's coming back from that Liz Frank injury and he's been so limited, can the expectations be, hey, Lane Kiffin touches a quarterback, great things happen?
That is the expectation. Is it realistic? I mean, he just took a kid from Division II and turned him into a Heisman contender. So, I mean, you pay Sam Leavitt what you're going to pay. But here's the other thing I'll tell you, too, David, is that season 2 years ago in Arizona, we all talk about when Arizona State went to the playoff, right? Leavitt didn't throw for 3,000 yards. But he was an efficient passer. He was a good runner as well. But Cam Scadaboo ran for 1,700 yards. We all remember Scadaboo in the postseason. That was incredible. That's what LSU's missing. The last 2 years, LSU's been last and second to last in the SEC in rushing. We can talk all we want about Leavitt, and I agree. Like, whatever LSU is going to be, Leavitt's got to take them to that level. But, like, part and parcel with that is they've got to run the ball. And that's something that's always paramount for Lane. So brand new offensive line, Dylan Jones is a running back coming in from Wisconsin, Levitt's ability to run, use his feet, all that's got to make sense to take pressure off of Levitt. So he doesn't have to be a 4,500-yard passer. Like, they got to have balance in this offense, which they have not had the last 2 years.
Matt, I'm struggling to understand where you are with LSU because I don't want to say you've been optimistic in years past, but I don't know if you are right now. I think you're kind of like how everybody is in college football. Like, I don't know. It's a new roster. It's this and that.
This is like bring this full circle where we started, like with Ole Miss being here today. If you take if we jump in the DeLorean, crank it up to 88, and go to the year 2030, okay, and we look at a 5-year sample of Ole Miss under Pete Golding and Lane Kiffin with LSU, I would bet you everything that I own that Lane Kiffin will win more games and have more success over the next 5 years.
Agree.
But one of the reasons Lane has pumped the brakes this offseason this year is because he looks at Ole Miss and goes, well, they still got Trinidad Chambliss and Kewan Lacey.
Yeah.
And this might be a year where they're better than LSU. Might be. So my point, David, is I would be able to give you a much more confident read on this LSU team if I had seen Sam Levitt in the spring. But he didn't participate. And the two dudes I saw run the offense are not ready. Husan Longstreet and Landon Clark, very talented players, and in time I think could be really, really good. It did not look good in spring. I'll put it that way. I get a new offense and all that stuff, but it's paramount that Levitt elevates this offense, that functions within this offense the way they're paying him to function within this offense. But I haven't seen what that looks like, man.
Right.
Let me go look at a few practices in fall camp, and I'll go, okay, that's a dude. They got one. They're going to be fine. If not, there's a real question around this team, and you bring it up 8-4. That's a real possibility if Levitt struggles or is limited in any way.
I want to ask you about 8-4 in general in the SEC now with the 9-game SEC schedule.
Yeah,
are we going to a year from now, 2 years from now, look at it as the same way we used to look at 9-3 or no?
Okay, so I've equated this to, are you an NFL guy at all?
I used to be more, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when the NFL had 16 games, it was like if you went 10-6, generally you were going to find your way in, right? There was exceptions, but you were 10-6 was a good benchmark. Even if you're a wild card, you're probably going to get in at 10-6. Well, they go to 17 games, and so it's okay, well, is it the 10 wins or the 6 losses?
Right.
Do you need to be 11-6 or 10-7? Which behaves that way? And so that's what I'm curious about this. But the problem is the committee. Because the committee has proven over and over and over and over again that the only number they care about is the second number on the win-loss record. It doesn't matter what it looks like. 2 years ago, Indiana was 11-1. The one loss was the only ranked team they played, and they got their head kicked in by Ohio State. They made the playoff because they were 11-1, and then got their head kicked in by Notre Dame. We can go back to that same season. Bama, South Carolina. Who's the other one? There was another SEC team that was 9-3 that didn't get in because they had 3 losses. Look at Texas a year ago.
Yep.
If I could make the argument, if Texas played Ohio U instead of Ohio State, they're 10-2. They're in the playoff.
Yep.
Now I have a major problem with that. I don't know if we need to go down that road because you get me on my soapbox and I'll be loud and we'll be here forever. But the point is, I don't think the committee considers the fact that the SEC is playing a 9th game and the P4 mandate. I think they only care about the second number of the win-loss. And that's complicated because while I stink at math, I know going to a 9th league game means you have guaranteed half of your league another loss. You've guaranteed it. So I think that complicates the SEC's path to the playoff this year.
I agree with that. If you could have your way, would you expand to the 24-team playoffs?
Yes. I think, now you're trying to get me on my soapbox again, David.
Let's do it. I want to hear soap.
I don't know how much time you got.
Whatever you want.
I don't know that I believe that. So I have pushed back forever on this notion in college football that it's the most sacred regular season, the greatest regular season. It's not. It's the most meaningless regular season in the history of sports because it's the only sport in the history of mankind where you can win every game you play and not even have a chance to compete for a championship because a bunch of goons in a hotel ballroom in suburban Dallas decided you're not worth it while they debate game control metrics. It's the stupidest thing in the world. So people are going to say, well, you go to 24, now you're rewarding mediocrity. No, I'm not. What I'm doing is I'm incentivizing Texas to go play Ohio State. I'm incentivizing LSU to play a home-and-home with Clemson. And you know what? That's a great thing for college football, for you, for me, for fans. Nobody wants to see LSU play McNeese State. Who's the FCS team y'all are playing this year?
Missouri State.
Are you fired up about that? You got that one circled, David? You fired up to watch it?
I forgot for a second. I had to look at my producer.
You fired up to watch A&M against Missouri State? Nobody,
or the Citadel?
Nobody wants to see it. It's terrible for our sport. It's a rent-a-win. It's a gate receipt. It's stupid. It's unnecessary. Yeah. So but then what I would like to see is you say, and by the way, it makes it more meaningful when you get into November because now people are competing to get into the playoff or competing for a bye or competing for a home game. It would only make it more interesting, a better product for more teams for longer, and then you actually have a playoff to go decide results on the field. So do you think LSU's or an SEC 9-3 is more valuable than Indiana's 11-1? Well, it doesn't matter what you or I think. Let's go play a game and find out. Yeah. That's what an expanded playoff does.
See, I agree with you. I've had a hard time verbalizing it the way you just did because I do believe if you lose early and now you're not playing for anything, what's the point of the regular season?
You opt out and because no one's excited to go to the Mayonnaise Bowl.
Right.
That's where we are in college football, and that's not good for college football.
All right, last question. And this is completely going back to something in the middle.
Okay.
Because I thought of it and I didn't follow up at the time. If somehow LSU won that game against A&M, okay, let's just say that the second half they played it just like they played the first half, right? A&M looks like the better team, but LSU has the lead. They win. Brian Kelly, your coach today.
Yes.
That one game was it.
Well, I think
the way that one game happened, I should say.
In part because he's not getting fired the next day, obviously. And then I think as you make your way through November, it probably looks a little different because the season was over. Nussmeier didn't come back. They played Michael Van Buren. They lost late to Oklahoma, a game that they blew. They had it won. They probably finished 9-3, and then he's still the coach. But with the benefit of hindsight, knowing that it landed you Lane Kiffin, this number one portal class, all the excitement around the program, it's hard to say it wasn't a good thing for it to happen the way it did. But only time will tell is if the Kiffin thing works out. But you got the guy everybody wanted, should fix your offense, got major buy-in from everybody. So see how the season goes. But yeah. I mean, it was so interesting too. I'll do this very quickly. But the week before LSU played A&M, they played Vanderbilt and they lost in Nashville. Yeah. And I was at that game, and it was the LSU Board of Supervisors game. So one game a year, the board goes and they do their board dinner and their meeting, and they wear their purple blazers and they stand on the field and all that guffaw and everything, whatever. But I remember after they lost to Vanderbilt in Nashville, I had a conversation with someone very familiar with the situation who said there's no appetite to eat $54 million. That was a week before.
Yeah.
And then the first half against A&M, they're winning. It just goes to show you how quickly that it's not like that was something that was simmering. It was a very immediate reactionary thing.
I think Jimbo was kind of similar. I actually want to ask one more, and I apologize for going wrong. So how would you look at the last 10, 15 years of LSU football? Okay. And I know 2019 happened.
Yeah.
Okay. But if for a moment you could evaluate everything but 2019.
Well, I think what's important because that's the perception of LSU football is that they're like one of the superpowers.
Yep.
I think that's fair to say, right? I mean, no team's won more national titles since 2003 than LSU. I'm sorry,
Alabama
aside from Bama, it was LSU. So LSU won 2003, 2007, and then 19. They played for another one in 11 that, if Oklahoma State could have beaten a 500 Iowa State team, then LSU blows out Oklahoma State and Les wins 2 national championships. But the truth about LSU is they're generally an 8-win football team on average. That's what they are. They're an 8-4, 9-3 football team that every half decade or so, boom, they pop the big one. And so that's what you see. So we're just sort of in this limbo now from 19 waiting to pop the big one. And last year was supposed to be that year, man.
Yeah.
Nuss came back. They had the number one portal class. Everyone thought that was going to be the one. And because it failed so spectacular, that's why they ate $54 million to fire Brian Kelly. But no, I mean, I think that's what LSU is. They're a perpetual 8-9 win team that about every half decade pops a big one.
Sounds so similar to A&M without the real big boom. Fourth, in the fourth in 2020 and last year 11-2. Like that's what A&M has been without winning the national game, which is a huge thing.
It changes the conversation.
Yeah, it does. Matt, I appreciate you, brother. Always great seeing you, man.
Always.
All right, we'll hit a break. We'll figure out the next segment. Do we have somebody booked for the next segment? All right, Nick's working on it. Right now, we're talking about Heritage Films. You got to get a documentary done about your family, guys. If you haven't had one done from Chance McClain and his team, you're missing out. When I say documentary, I'm talking like legit Netflix-style documentary that tells your family story, your family business story, your family ranch story. You've heard that before. In fact, Chance texted me today. He says he's got a promo ready for me to go. I'm telling you guys, these documentaries are incredible. When you watch it with your family, you're going to feel great, and then the future generation is going to learn so much from it. 713-893-8341. 713-893-8341, or go to yourheritagefilm.com. Yourheritagefilm.com is Heritage Films.
I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar. I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going, you use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. Everyone, David Nuno here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever, and also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group, and they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no-pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em.
All right, we're going to try to stay on the clock, even though I destroyed that clock. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2.5 of the program. Today's SEC Media Days coverage is presented by Paragon Financial Advisors, an Aggie-owned and independent fee-only fiduciary firm serving families and business owners nationwide. Visit paragon-adv.com. So what I wanted to do is kind of, and Nick, you can help me out with this, compare LSU and A&M over the last 10, 15 years, because part of my conversation with Matt Moscona was how similar really they're. Now, I got to pause when I say this. I know that LSU's won national championships in the 2000s.
Yeah.
I recognize that. I don't think that's my point. I think my point is the fact that they have this one big year followed by somewhat mediocrity every year, right? Like,
it does feel like that. It's a roller coaster.
So, I mean, just for A&M in particular, okay, and we'll just go from 2019 beyond, okay? Like, you felt that they were building something after 2019, right?
Do you want Blain Crain, by the way?
I would love to get Blain on the show.
Let me see what he's doing real quick. I'm sorry.
But, all right, just to continue this dialogue, you have A&M since 2019. They go 8-5, 9-1, 8-4, 5-7, 7-6, 8-5, 11-2. And anyway, we'll get Blain Crain to kind of discuss it. Blain Crain joining us here on the show. What's up, man?
What's up? How we doing?
So, hold on. Are you solo? Because I feel like your team is on the remote.
Yeah, it's just me. My brother and his wife are expecting a baby next week.
All right.
Cone has like 14 kids. So they just sent me down here to try not to mess everything up. So I think I'm doing okay so far.
But I feel like I've seen them in the background. Have they been on or no? Or maybe
yeah, so we've been doing some shows from down here. We did one in the hotel room the first day. Second day, we did it from here because we had a little camera situation go on.
So, Blain, I wanted to ask you something I was just talking about with Matt Moscona. It kind of brought a thought up to me.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about LSU, obviously you think about a program that is considered one of the blue bloods, one of the SEC best.
Absolutely.
But, and here's my but, similarly to A&M, except without the big boom, they have this one big year. They have 2019, and then they got several years of mediocre football, okay?
Mm-hmm.
A&M's been the same way without the huge boom.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that, 2020 and last season aren't the same equivalent to a national championship. But my point is, why do you think LSU has gone through that they have this huge year, then they drop off for several years, then they have another huge year?
I think it's coaching. Like, I really think people need to realize how much a head coach matters to a football team. I mean, look what Signetti's doing right at Indiana. I mean, it doesn't matter what type of school you are, basketball, croquet school, it doesn't matter. But if you get the right guy at the head coaching job position, then it can change everything. And I still remember, like, I know football's changed a lot. Les Miles was basically just getting eating grass and running the toss sweep, and it worked. But I think Brian Kelly was never a good fit. I mean, the fact that you couldn't get anything done with Jane Daniels at quarterback tells a lot. And I think the same thing with A&M. Like, Mike Elko has changed A&M, in my opinion. You go back to the Johnny Manziel days, I understand that. But it's a ground and pound. You win in the trenches. The best coaches build it from what? Inside out. And that's what I think Lane Kiffin's going to do and bring in the recruits. That's what Mike Elko's doing. So I'm just used to LSU being a really, really good football team. So maybe it's just I'm a young cat. Maybe that's it. But A&M found their guy, and I think LSU found their guy.
So I know your brother's background in football. What's your background?
Played at Western Colorado. Played there for 2 years. Got a little beat up, so I got straight into coaching. Coached for 4 years at the JUCO level, one of the D2 level. So, I mean, coaching has been my life. Football's been my life. Like, my dad played and coached at Auburn. Played in the NFL for a little bit, so I've been surrounded by it my entire life. And it's funny, like, this never has felt like a job to me. This is just what we do on a regular basis. We chop it up. We talk ball. This is just my life 24/7. So got a little bit of background. Jake was a little bit of a higher level when it comes to coaching. Coaches South, coached at a couple big schools. So it's just football's in my blood, man.
How does this show change your life?
It changed my life in the sense of, me and my brother were both coaching. Then COVID hit, and, it got to the point where, like, look, do I want to coach for the rest of my life? I want to be around the game. What can I do? And we kind of did this on a whim in the back of my grandmother's house, and I didn't know, like, you get paid to do this, right? I didn't know it was like, and that was kind of before podcasting or show really blew up to to what it was now. It's just I get paid to talk about sports, which is still, I might be in a coma. I don't know. This might be a simulation. We'll see. But it's changed my life to where, one, I get to do my job with my brother, which is just fantastic. And David Cone's basically part of the family now. So it's just changed my life in the right direction, because after what happened to my father and stuff like that, which was kind of a negative in my life, it flipped around. Everything happens for a reason. So I'm on a really good path right now.
Well, let's talk some ball. All right. Give me your top 5 coaches in the SEC, if you have that in your head.
Okay, I'd go in order, in aggregate. I would
if you have that, yeah.
Yeah, Kirby Smart, obviously. Sustained success he's had at Georgia. I go Mike Elko, Steve Sarkisian. I go Lane Kiffin. 5.
You'd put Elko at 2?
Yeah, I would.
I love that answer.
I would.
Yeah.
I believe in everything Mike does.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like if Mike, I know he's at A&M, and it's not like y'all don't have money or anything like that, but you could put Mike on an island somewhere and he'd find out, just build a five-star hotel resort and get that thing kicking. So 5's the real question. I'd really have to go. I don't think Drink gets enough credit for what he's done in Missouri. I feel like year in and year out, they find a way to win 8 or 9 games, sometimes 10. So 5, I would have to think. I think John Summerall is going to jump into this list pretty quick. I'm a John Summerall guy. The way he's just a winner everywhere he goes. Kalen DeBoer, we'll see. I don't know if it's the right fit at Alabama. Somehow you win 11 games and one of the worst teams in the nation are running the football. So we'll see how it goes this year with the quarterback position. But yeah, I might sneak Kalen DeBoer in there at 5.
Okay. And then the broader picture of it, do you have Kirby as number 1, or has Cignetti passed him?
I still have Kirby as number 1.
Me too.
I still have Kirby as number 1. If Indiana goes out and wins it this year, I would put Kirk Cignetti as the number 1 coach, because he's doing it in Indiana. But right now, Kirby still holds the mantle to me.
Yeah, to me, he is the sustainability, the different eras, and the fact that he just keeps winning. Now, does he need to win again? Sure. Yeah. I mean, as every coach does. Cignetti, to me, has to prove that he can do it with a different roster and maybe a couple years removed from James Madison.
Yeah, and this is one thing Nick Saban was so good at. Not only just harboring talent, but the malleability of being able to change with the game, being a step ahead, and continue that success. And that's what Kirby's done. Like, it's crazy, because you go back to some of Kirby's best teams, right? It started where? Up front of the D-line.
Right.
I mean, the linebackers led Georgia in sacks last year. So he knows how to switch the game. He knows the right buttons to press at the right time. So he's still number 1 to me, but I'm telling you, Kirk Cignetti's close. If you look at that roster he has this year, I don't think they're going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't either. For A&M, there's a lot of question marks about the O-line, the D-line, and I know you're high on Elko. But what are realistic expectations with those incomplete grades on the O-line and the D-line?
Well, you lose a guy like Cassius. I mean, that's hard to replace no matter what. But when it comes to Mike Elko, maybe it's a problem with me. I just believe he knows how to get the right guys in the right spots, identify the right talent, what he needs positionally. And the bigger thing to me is how the new coordinator is going to adapt, right? Is the chemistry going to be just absolutely fluent when he gets there? Is it going to be a perfect fit? And the great thing about A&M, or something you can lean on this year, is you get Marcel Reed back. And that matters so much. And I know you lost a great receiver, but you look at those guys, even the 2 deep at receiver position, you're going to be just as good. And one of the most underrated cats in the SEC, I think, is Reuben Owens. He doesn't get talked about enough. I think he's going to be maybe 1,000-yard back. He's going to be the bell cow for these guys. So I'm not that worried about A&M up front on both sides of the ball, because I have that much belief in Mike Elko.
Blain, great stuff, man. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it, fellas.
Appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely.
Blain Crain there from Crain Cone podcast from On3. We'll hit a break here. We'll come back and, we'll continue to tap dance and figure it out as we go. That's what we do here at SEC Media Days. Right now, we're talking Bubba's 33. Say hi to my friends there. They're awesome. Jessica, Shelby, the whole crew, Maddox. Join them for a wrap-up of an incredible month in community support for Burgers for the Brave parking lot party. They'll announce their final fundraising total from the homes for our troops, recognize 2 outstanding local veterans, enjoy live music, shop with local vendors, and make one last push to support the amazing cause. And bring the whole family. The kids can enjoy face painting, balloon artists, while everyone takes part in an evening of great food, entertainment, community. It's the perfect family outing and a chance to make a lasting difference through our nation's heroes. It's Bubba's 33. The food is fantastic. The burgers, I recommend getting a big old burger from there. Check it out. It is Bubba's 33 on Highway 6.
Hey friends, David Nuno here, talking to my buddies. I got Sheldon and Danny Shelley of Aggieland Hydration. Sheldon, I want to start off with you. What is different about Aggieland Hydration?
So we're a 100% mobile IV company. We are opening a storefront later this year in Bryan College Station, but we come to you, and we have about 10 nurses that serve the area.
Danny, what's one thing that people get wrong about IV hydration?
The one thing I would say is everyone thinks the needle stays in your arm the whole time. So when you get poked with the needle goes away, a small little catheter stays in, and that's how you get your infusion.
And then Sheldon, do you guys do a bunch of events? Are you all around town?
Yes, we did the Troubadour Festival. We try to do one event a month in the Bryan College Station area.
That's great. That's why we see you everywhere. Danny, what's the best drip for somebody who's active, who thinks they're active? Weekend warrior, like what's the best drip out there?
Yeah, so our overall wellness drip is our Myers cocktail. It has 6 different vitamins in it. That's what I would say for your average adult. People who are big into working out, or if they work outside a lot, I would recommend the Maroon Muscle Recovery. That one has 10 different vitamins in it, and it's really geared towards recovery and removing toxins from the body.
All right, so if somebody wants to check you out, what's the website?
It is aggielandhydrationandinjectables.com.
All right, the phone number, by the way, is 979-217-1561. It is Aggieland Hydration.
All right, we're going to get right into it because I become best friends with Damien Harris during the break. He talked about A&M. He talked about his time at Alabama. He is now Money Manziel. All right, ask the audience your question.
Okay, so I was debating with my coworker at CBS Sports, Brian McFadden. What is the greatest play, not player, the greatest singular play in the history of college football?
And he started giving some good candidates. And, like, every time he said one, I'm like, well, that's it. No, that's it. So give them.
So we've got Doug Flutie, Hail Mary.
Yeah.
We've got Boise State, Statue of Liberty. We've got kick 6 from Auburn. We've got 2nd and 26. I just thought of another one. Band on the field.
Okay.
Stanford band on the field. You went kick six. As soon as I said kick six,
yeah,
you immediately went with it.
Because when I saw it happen live, the effect that it had on me emotionally at the moment, where I'm like, oh my God, what am I watching?
So hold on. I hate to interrupt you, but you're going down the same exact path that my coworker Bryant McFadden went down. So for those of y'all who want to know, I obviously said 2nd and 26.
I understand why.
Now, yes, I am biased because I was a part of that game, but let me do something for you.
All right.
I want to look up the definition of greatness.
Yep.
Okay. Greatness, I'm going to tell you the definition, and then you and I, we're going to talk about the greatest play of all time. Greatness refers to the quality or state of being exceptional, notable, or distinguished in a particular area.
I see where you're going with this.
So, now, this is just the Google definition of the word greatness. Now, based on that, I don't think, not just based on that, let's say based on the fact that we substituted in a true freshman quarterback in the national championship after we had not crossed the 50-yard line in the first half.
Now you give me context.
And we were down 10 points in that game. Came back. This same true freshman takes a sack on the first play of overtime, loss of 16. Next play, throws a touchdown to walk off a national championship. Now, based on the definition of greatness,
you've talked me into it. All right, because you know what? Honestly, when you're evaluating a play, you got to take the emotion out of it, right?
You have to.
So the emotion of the kick six, I think, elicited a huge response. Did I just watch that? Mm-hmm. The Flutie, I was too young.
Way too young.
All right, you weren't even born yet. All right,
not even close. I wouldn't have thought.
But I've seen that so many times. I'm told that's the greatest player, right?
Right.
I'm going to go with you. A, because you're bigger, stronger than me, and you made it a compelling case.
See, that's all I want. I want to make it a compelling case. Because let me also give you this context, right? I've sold you. I don't want to oversell, but I just want to give you this last little tidbit. If it had been any other two teams in the national championship and that same 2nd and 26 play happens, I think that we get the same exact kind of feeling and the same, oh my God, what just happened? True freshman quarterback going in at halftime. He did it.
Yeah.
He did it.
I'm going to give that to you.
If there's any two other teams out there where a kick that could have gone into overtime, by the way, the game would have gone into overtime had Chris Davis not scored. If any other situation where two teams played and that were the end result of the game, it would have been way less dramatic.
Damien, because I suck and I did a long segment earlier, I have a short segment here. Let me ask you this question before I let you go. You told me you had a lot of love for A&M as a kid.
Yeah.
And you were a huge Manziel fan back when you were 14 years old. Give me your quick version of why you liked A&M before you got to Alabama.
Well, first of all, I mean, watching Johnny Manziel walk into Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa and walk down the Crimson Tide at the height of their dominance, it was so inspiring because he was a small guy. He wasn't the biggest. He wasn't the strongest. He wasn't the fastest. And I related to that because I was a small-town kid from Richmond, Kentucky, where not a lot of people made it to where I want to go. Then as I played, I kind of realized how special it was because I played at Kyle Field a couple times. It is by far the best venue in college football. Death Valley, Baton Rouge on a night game, that's different. But just uniformity, it's the best stadium. It's the best environment in all of college football. The tradition is great. And it's just, honestly, it's one of those places where obviously Alabama worked out, and I'm glad that I went there. But A&M would have been a cool place to check out a little bit more in the recruiting trail. But again, I am very happy with where I went.
Damien, I'd love to get you on the show again, man.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Damien Harris, we'll hit a break. We'll be back. It's TexAgs Live. the great Josh Pate stopping by the table, chit-chatting, trying to figure out when we're going to be able to get him on the program. He is a very important guy. How about that, our last guest, Damien Harris? Really loved that conversation. One of the things he told me, and I don't think he was private, I mean, it's not like a secret. He was just being honest. He wished A&M had recruited him harder. He said that it was towards the end of the Sumlin era, obviously, and he was like, yeah, I was really interested in Texas A&M. I knew they recruited me, but I wanted them to recruit me a little bit more. But it all went out really well for Damien Harris, who's now at CBS Sports. Did we get an update for what? Actually, he's telling you right here. What did Josh say?
You're going to hate me. You're always, every time I have an update, I feel like you're going to be mad at me. He's going to come back for the 10:30 segment. I told him you need to be done so you can get to the scrum. So 11:30 our time, 10:30 back home.
So does that mean Billy Lucci's joining us or no?
I don't think so. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll figure out what we figure out when we figure it out. TexAgs Live. And we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Our SEC Media Days coverage brought to you by Paragon Financial Advisors. Billy's with me. I'm David Nuno, and Drew Fabianich joining us from the Senior Bowl, the Executive Director. How are you, sir?
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
Always good to be back with somebody from Texas.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because people ask me, where you're from? I said, well, I'm a Texan. 23 years worth, I'm a Texan.
How long were you with the Cowboys?
18.
Wow. I didn't realize it was 18.
18, yeah. 23 total in Texas.
So talk to me, what's new with the Senior Bowl? How have you guys grown?
You know, I don't know if it's so much how we've grown, but we made the experience a heck of a lot better for the players, I thought. And it was the lowest drop rate of players leaving during the week than it had been in 4 years. And, you know, what we dealt with the weather, getting those guys down there was almost pure hell because we had to get them down 3 days early.
Was that the ice?
That was the ice storm. Yeah. So we flew everybody in from LA, from Dallas, and everybody from Charlotte. It was 85 players 3 days early. And, you know, and again, it went off pretty damn well.
Yeah.
If we wouldn't have done that, I don't know if we'd have had a game. You know?
What goes into the increased retention? Guys finishing the week, guys making it to the game.
I think making agents aware of the value, and I don't know if you followed the Panini Senior Bowl on X, but when we had the 15 top gainers from last year, and these were compared on 4-year contracts, just our 15, it ended up being $86 million in difference. Okay?
Oh, wow.
Just perfect example was like Chris Johnson. He was rated as a high 4, he goes in the first round. Caleb Banks was a high 3, first round, right? Keelan Rutledge, third round, goes in the first round. On those guys' jumps, just on theirs alone on a 4-year contract difference was $13 million.
Wow.
You know, so educating, you know, and letting these people know, letting the agents know and the player know that if you do this right, you will grow your draft stock exponentially.
How's it gone with the transition from Reese's, right? Reese's to Panini.
You know, it's good. Reese's was a great partner for a long time, but it's nice to have a sports-related sponsor.
Yeah.
And plus, they have a lot of these guys signed already.
That's true.
You know,
some of them go back, high school.
High school. I think they had Archer when he was like right coming out of high school.
Yeah.
They've got about 20 players, and I would think that they're probably going to play in our game if they're good enough. You know?
Drew, how early do you start the evaluation process for the upcoming year? Like, is this something you do the year before? Does it start now?
Well, the week after I strip the board. And I leave the ones up that we had evaluated before. That didn't go, like Trinidad Chambliss. He's exactly where we had him last year. You know, and I invited him last year, you know. Now, again, I strip that, and we start right then. We start with everybody in-house. There's 4 of us that go through every conference and every single player. And then we have 9 scouts that are scattered all over the country. And once we send them the list in August, then they're going to go to the games. They're also going to evaluate the number of players we give them. We go over those reports in October, one by one, because they're all in different areas. Then we cross-check them. So the first time they're cross-checking me and our in-house people, then we're cross-checking them, and then we put the roster together right at the end of October. And the invites don't go out until after Thanksgiving, and I did that purposely because I coached for a long time, and I didn't want to be a distraction to coaches. So I want them to be finished with the regular season. Then the invites are there for the players then. And now I'm not calling them. I'm not recruiting them.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just, like I said, I'm being very cognizant of not being in the way of coaches because I've been there.
How do you balance between the best player in college and the best NFL potential?
I go by the best NFL potential because the league wants to see 135 of the best players out there for the league. And again, we know when we put out the rosters, we know where guys are projected. That's how I found out, hey, where's Keelan Rutledge going to be? He's top of the 3rd round.
Was he your favorite success story last year?
I think Caleb Banks.
Yeah.
Because, he played 3 games.
Yeah.
And he was hurt most of the season. And he comes down there and just tears it up. And, he's got a little bit of Chris Jones in him. He's that big of a man.
That's saying something.
And if he stays healthy, which I hope he does, because when it's a foot injury for a big man like that, and I don't know if you still next to Billy, but my God, he is enormous.
No,
and he's an athlete.
Saw y'all. Yeah, he's.
Yeah, being almost 6'6", and like 330 pounds, and doesn't look 330 pounds. So
at Florida, man, they have. I'm almost going to ask you about A&M. They went from 3 draft picks to 10, and Mike Elko's thing is, we want to live there.
Yes.
And it'll be really interesting this year to see how many they have, because I wouldn't say they went heavy portal, but they did some portal stuff. They've got veterans. I could see them sneaking up near that number again, certainly closer to that than 3. But, man, Florida, it's like bank. There's so many guys on that. Are they a team this year that you look at in the SEC just knowing talent and they could surprise?
I think they could surprise, but I think it rides on their quarterback.
Yeah.
I really do. If the quarterback can perform, Florida has enough talent. I mean, and they had enough talent last year, too. Just the wheels fell off. And you're right about, whether you have 10 draft picks, 11 draft picks, it's like, when you look at that, if you have 10 to 15, okay, you should compete for a national championship. Yeah. You should.
Yeah, that's kind of the magic number to me, like 10 plus.
Yeah, and then Notre Dame, if everybody comes out, they may have 12.
Yeah.
Texas, they may have 10.
It was interesting talking to the Aggies. I talked to the A&M captains a few weeks ago and did a little interview with them, all of them, and they were sitting there, and the topic came up about a couple of the hits Marcel took against Notre Dame, and the other players are like, man, they were hitting. Notre Dame was very physical, and you don't hear that when you play through this SEC. In the last 15 years, when you play through this SEC schedule, you don't hear players talk about other. And that gave me a whole new respect for Notre Dame. Is they were like, man,
they're hard.
Like that is it's in the NFL. They're starting to look. Marcus Freeman has them looking more like an SEC team than I think they ever have.
Correct.
Or ever.
He's done a better job recruiting than I've seen in 10, 15 years. And again, if you do it right at Notre Dame, you should compete every single year. You should.
Well, and to go back to that comment about if you have 10 potential NFL players, you should compete for a national championship. The problem with that is in the SEC, there are several of those teams, right?
There are, but again, it's also about what your depth is too, and what you lose in the portal, because a lot of times guys lose their depth. Yeah. And once once that first teamer goes down, it's like the NFL. There's a drop off because you can't manage your roster because of the money in the NFL. Like if you put in that second left tackle, he's not very damn good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a big drop.
And that's what's happening with the NCAA now. Because again, if they're not playing right off the bat, or if they feel like, okay, I can make more money being a starter somewhere else, they're leaving.
Right.
So it's how they manage that roster and how they manage to keep them, I think, is the biggest thing, because you're going to lose 8 to 10 players during the year.
Yeah.
You are. Yeah. Now, how do you manage that with the guys that back them up?
Before I let you go, anybody in particular on A&M's roster you got your eyes on?
Yeah, I tell you what, I like both safeties. Yeah. I really do. I like the quarterback. I think he should probably stick around for another year. That's just my personal opinion, because I think he needs to develop, physically. He's got enough arm. I saw him down at the Manning Academy. He looked good. It's a good roster. It really is. Defensive lineman I like too. Again, the backers. I do. I like both of them. Now, one of them should stay. Yeah. And one of them should go.
What about Saka from Northwestern and Ricky Gibbs, the pass rusher, and then Ricky Gibson out of Tennessee? Those are 2 portal additions.
Yeah, Saka.
Isaiah Horton.
Yeah, Saka's a little bit stiff, but physical. Yeah. He'll be a good sub rusher. He'll probably play on rundowns. The rest of them they brought in, I think some of them will start. I think some of them may end up being backups.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. So many O-linemen. I keep saying not all of them will start, but you'll get a couple of them for sure.
Well, and put it this way, Horton didn't have a lot of production. And if he just stuck around at Alabama, he probably wouldn't have a lot of production there either.
Yeah.
Now, Cravens, wow.
He's got juice, man. Yeah, he looked better in the spring than he did in the fall, which is saying something.
He stuck out like a sore thumb against Notre Dame. Yeah. He did. And those are 2 real corners that Notre Dame has.
Absolutely.
So now I've always got my eyes on Texas A&M. I'm always, because, and again, I'll be up at SMU, TCU, and North Texas. I'm going to speak that they're 3 teams, like in August.
I'll be interested to hear your take on those. Yeah. We've grown distant from following them. It used to be so much, with the old SWC and just more regional, but now it feels like a different world. One's in the ACC, one's in the Big 12.
That's right. I was part of the Southwest Conference too when I was at Baylor. So, many people remember that now.
I do. I do.
Yeah. Drew, we appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.
You guys' time. I appreciate you having me.
Appreciate you.
See you
this evening.
Drew Fabianich here on TexAgs Live, the Senior Bowl Executive Director. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Jonathan Hutton No, I didn't say it. I almost said it. Jonathan Hutton is now somewhere else. But I didn't say where he is. We'll hit a break. We'll do that. Right now we're talking Milliken Reserve farm-to-table community in College Station. They got farms, they got wide open spaces, and they have a mission to build a healthy community around nature. They're committed to treading lightly on the beautiful land that you can find Milliken Reserve on. 2,600 acres of open space. That place is great for families to cherish for generation after generation. You can come there to relax, to reflect, to explore, to discover. You can go hiking, you can go biking, you can go canoeing. You can do it all at Milliken Reserve. Get a Conservancy membership right now. You can learn more at millikenreserve.com. That is millikenreserve.com. I'm going to bro you here, Jonathan.
All right, what's
Hutton's
up?
with us. I almost said the old place. It came close. I was like, Jonathan Hutton with, I'm going to tell you the other.
Well done.
So where are you?
Hutton and Withrow.
Hutton and Withrow, that's the show.
For now, yeah.
For now. Hutton and Withrow. Well, I love that it's the same team. You guys have been together, what, 15 years?
Yeah, this is year 15 with Chad.
Yeah.
Crazy. We started, right at the end of 2011, started 2012. And we've been dating that long.
Wow, man. So give me a Billy Lucci story.
Dude, first off, you guys are the best. I love hanging out with all of you guys from TexAgs.
I'm a huge partier. You know that about me, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We were hanging out last night here at the hotel, and you were already in bed. Good for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Billy Lucci. First, let me start with a great. So, he's responsible for me seeing in person my favorite college football game.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was in College Station.
41-38.
Yeah.
You guys did your show from our parking lot, right?
Yes, we did. And I didn't really know why we were there that morning because was it 3 losses for A&M or 2 at the time?
2. They had lost to Mississippi State and Arkansas, if I remember correctly.
And even Clay he was kind of like, I wish the game was going to be better, but he was doing big noon kickoff. And Bama came in, and Lucci just rolled out the red carpet. First time I'd met him, really.
Yeah, I didn't meet you that time.
Yeah. And we went to there was some country club. I don't know what it was, but
I'm assuming Traditions.
Huge dinner. Everybody was fantastic. Clay hadn't even gotten into town yet, and Billy just rolled out the red carpet. The dude knows everybody.
Yep.
Here's this very rare. I think it's a trait. You can't learn how to do this. He's a lot like Dave McGinnis and others, where you meet him and you talk to him for 5 minutes, and he makes you feel like you've known him for 5 years.
He's great at that.
And that's with literally everybody. That's what I learned about Lucci. And anytime I'm on, I want to give a story that I'll unveil and keep the names and protect the innocent, right? But it's just where even in Nashville when he joins us, we're walking down Broadway. He knows literally everybody that he needs to know to get around. It's awesome.
Well, Billy is unapologetically Billy. What you see on the air is what you get. The part you don't get to see is his caring side and how he takes care of his people.
Sure. I'm about to knock this over. Did you have you ever seen him wear short sleeves? I've never seen him in anything but sleeves.
Very rarely. He's worn a polo a couple times over the last couple of weeks because it is 100 degrees in Texas. So yes, but very rarely.
Well, it's hot outside here in Tampa.
Yeah. He's got a freaking jacket on.
I know. He's got a shacket.
Yeah. Hey, so let's talk a little football for a second.
Let's do it.
All right. SEC Media Days. What do you think is an assumption out there about a team in the SEC that we will look at, I don't know, late October, early November? That was a foolish thought. Like some of these preseason narratives.
Well, I think the idea that teams are just going to go, 11-0 to start, to go 12-0. I just don't see that in this league this year. I think it's going to be a hodgepodge of teams that are 3 losses.
I do too.
And we're treating. I say we. I think of them this way too. I'm treating Texas like they're the top team. I'm not so sure about that, but I keep telling myself that because I'm trying not to have groupthink with it.
Sure.
It's more than just Texas and Georgia. I'm high on A&M.
You are.
I love Marcel Reed, but and again, I think the defense, the secondary, there are aspects of the team that I really like. And then LSU. I mean, Kiffin's going in there. Kiffin's going to win there. He's going to win. And
this early though.
Maybe not if he could run the football.
Yeah.
If they can run the football. They were awful. They were last in the conference, I think.
Yes, they were.
Yeah. If they can run the football, yes, they're going to win some games this year.
Yeah. The thing I struggle with, and this is really for everybody, all these holes you can pick at A&M, I feel like you can pick at most teams, right?
Totally agree. And it's like like most teams, how good is the quarterback going to be on a week-to-week basis? It's stacking some wins, overcoming a bad series or a bad loss.
Sure.
Playing through injury. There are intangibles like Georgia's got that, right? They've got that intangible. Texas should have that, right? Should. And beyond, if their offensive line is fixed. Now, Georgia's got some true freshmen coming in at offensive line, so that maybe that plays a factor. I look at A&M and think they've got that. They've got a quarterback that can overcome some obstacles with the mindset that I know he has because he was playing right down the road from me in Nashville.
Well, the way I look at it is sustainability. So, Kirby, you know what you're going to get for the most part, right?
Yep.
You know what you're going to get from Lane for the most part. And I think we're starting to learn what you're going to get from Coach Elko. I think we need another data point at A&M, but I think you're starting to know that.
Yeah, and I agree. You say this, and Billy says there needs to be. This is a year where you want to go back to the playoff. And start a consistency, an expectation, a momentum. Great. I think they can do that. I don't. Is there an expectation for you with that?
My expectation is they should be knocking on the door of the playoffs again. Well, and I don't know if that means they get in or not.
But you're right. But like we're saying, I think that's the majority of the conference right now.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's what's hurting the SEC. It's great to watch from week to week, but when you don't have a truly elite team as of today, or truly and I think Georgia and Texas are the closest based on, Georgia based on history and what they've recruited, Texas based on what I'm told by all the national media, what I should think, right? But I don't know if there's a true top dog. Is there a top dog in the Big Ten that I don't follow?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The top dogs in the Big Ten have been eating away at the SEC right now, right? Yeah. They can brag because they're winning. But even though it may not be a true elite team in the SEC, they're better than the other teams that are going to get in the playoff through the bottom half of the bracket.
Yeah.
It's just not going to be every team that's going to get in, unfortunately, that should. Man, I'm intrigued to see how the rest of the conference, like Tennessee, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, what's going to happen, because that's really what's going to determine the middle portion. Yes. It will play a factor in the top half of the league. Those teams will get wins and suffer some losses that could end up putting a coach on the hot seat or fired.
I agree with that. So for the postseason, you think SEC is a 4-bid league, 5? They were 5 last year, but that 9th game kind of muddies that water.
I think. Let's see where Bama is. I think it's A&M, Texas, Georgia, and I think right there it's LSU, Bama, Tennessee, somewhere in there. And I'm not expecting much from the Vols, honestly. I think 8 wins is kind of the ceiling this year for them. So I don't think that's a 3-loss team, but I think I'm looking at a 2-3-loss position where this is a year to get the team in on the backside of the playoff or the final position for it.
I'm intrigued by your answer there because I feel like all the guys I've talked to from the state of Tennessee that don't necessarily cover Tennessee have said, "Hey, don't sleep on the Vols this year." But you're saying a down year for them is an 8-4 year.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's this it's not if you lose, it's how you lose.
Yeah,
and they got pushed around by Vanderbilt in that final game physically. That says a lot. That's not against Bama. But Vanderbilt's was doing that against Bama and Auburn and others.
Sure.
But I'm saying, that final game, and they got blown out and pushed around and slapped around. That says where they were and where they have to be. It wasn't a step back necessarily because of what they had went through with Nico at quarterback and others.
Yeah.
But man, they swung and missed on a lot of quarterbacks this offseason. They're going in with either a true freshman or a redshirt freshman, and the guy that's been there for a year, McIntyre, doesn't seem like he's taking the brass ring right now.
So you just said something that I think is very intriguing. It's not that you lost; it's how you lost.
Yeah.
And is that part of the reason Alabama, who won 11 games, won a playoff game, they got embarrassed by Indiana, and that wasn't the only game that was really a bad game for them. But is that beyond the Nick Saban era? Is that the why?
Yeah, there's a standard to it, and the teams are going to suffer losses. It's fans have expectations at Kentucky too. It's like everywhere. But if you want to see some consistency, even in a tough game. If you suffer a loss, it's not like Georgia's getting crushed in those losses. Right there, they're right there. Tennessee, again, the way they lost to Vanderbilt, that spoke volumes, and why Heupel went out and got Indiana's strength and conditioning guy. And he was there the next day after the national championship. They have changed a lot based on what we saw.
You said you're high on Marcel. You've seen him since he was a kid.
I really like him.
How does he not take a step backward? And there's no way to really tell you how not to, but because we've seen quarterbacks, Kate Klubnik last year, Garrett Nussmeier, that did not get better each season. Yeah,
I think that A&M's built where they can help him out as long as they protect him. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm thinking about from maybe he takes a step back statistically.
Yeah.
I just like the moments, right? Yeah. And when you need a moment, which team has the quarterbacks that are going to step up and throw and make the play. He could do it multiple ways. I've seen him do it. Chad and I have seen him do it at the high school level and the state championship level, in the best league in the state. We'll see it this week. And again, there's going to be 2 or 3 losses there, but I'm telling you, man, I like Coach's son. I just like the mindset.
Yeah, I agree.
He's not going to be in a situation where it's too big for the moment.
My brother, always appreciate having you on.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Jonathan Hutton here on TexAgs Live. Right now, we're going to hit a break. We'll come back. I believe Josh Pate will join us.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. There's something special about the Aggie Network. It's built on trust and relationships and people looking out for each other. And that's exactly like how Aggie-owned and operated Paragon Financial Advisors approaches their financial planning for all of their guys. From their headquarters in College Station, they serve individuals and family business owners nationwide with independent, fee-only fiduciary advice. So whether you're preparing for retirement, growing your investment, building your business, or planning for the eventual sale of that business, Paragon works alongside you through every stage of the journey. No commissions, no product sales, just personalized financial planning and investment management designed around your goals. Learn more and schedule your complimentary consultation at paragon-adv.com. Paragon Financial Advisors, Aggie-owned independent, serving clients nationwide. So, look, I'm just going to say this. I got my boy Josh Pate here, right? Shout out to Academy Sports and Outdoors. When Aaron Murray was here, we talked about Ironmans because I've done halves. He's doing halves. And then when I get Peyton here in Pate State, we're talking about the gun show. We're talking about lifting and lifting heavy. What's up, brother?
Dude, I could never do what y'all do. Everybody talks about, lifting heavy. If you'd made me do half or a quarter of an Ironman, I'd be cooked.
I think you could, man. This is I've seen grandpas do it, okay? It's just you're a consistent college football reader, viewer. You're consistent in the gym. All it takes is consistency. Nobody said do it good.
Oh, okay, never mind.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody said do it good. Like, I'm average as bleep at everything I do in life, right? So I just do it.
Your words, not ours.
But a lot of people share. What's up, man?
Been good. It's July, so that means our favorite season is right around the corner.
Yes, it does. It does. And I am, every season, I think you and I have talked about this before, I have a harder time figuring out what I really think about teams based on the league that we cover mostly, the one we do is the SEC, how the changing of rosters, the changing of the guard. Like, I don't know what to believe anymore. I mean, I believe in coaches. That's what I believe in.
So I just said this 5 minutes ago to somebody. I think the biggest lesson was like a young writer. And they said, hey, give me some advice. I said, just really don't say anything provocative in July. Don't nail yourself down on any belief, any prediction or whatnot. I know it's tempting.
Yeah.
There's so many microphones around here. Everyone wants to get their bold prediction out. Because I'm like you. It's not that I study the game any less. It's not that I pay attention any less to the sport. But yet I get to July these days, and you're looking around saying, what do I really know? Because it feels like if you compress the league and everyone's closer together and the talent is more evened out, all it's going to be is a bunch of one-possession games.
Right.
Not quite like the NFL, but more like the NFL than it used to be. So, like, I've always watched NFL coverage, and I've thought, man, y'all have all this fun talking, all this fun predicting, but at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of 23-20 games.
Yeah. Billy Lucci making an appearance. I don't know if he's going to join the show or not.
It's rare for you to show up while I'm here. What's wrong?
He's got to do J.D. Piquel.
Oh, okay. You do your thing, we'll do our thing.
So, if we ever do something with Billy, he'll sometimes be there and sometimes not, Josh. All right, I want to ask you something. You're actually the only one that I've asked this question of others, but I really want your opinion because you said recently, and I'm trying to remember how you phrased it, that you don't think it's a bluff what the SEC, what Greg Sankey said, right? And then as we're coming closer to SEC Media Days, there was this like, I don't know if they're going to be able to fix this Protect College Sports Act on time. And then we start SEC Media Days, and there's a little more optimism, and now there's a little bit of holding, and I don't know. So what do you think right now about where we are with that whole world?
Greg's like 20 feet from us right now. Just throw a mic over there. When I said I don't think he's bluffing, I actually think he did a really good job yesterday. I believe it was with Brandon Marcello. He added more context to kind of what he talked about. Because what happens with Greg every year is he'll make his State of the Union speech on Monday. A bunch of people will take it out of context. A bunch of people will rip partial context headlines, and then he'll spend the rest of the week clarifying what he said. So when you're talking about the concept of a breakaway, I think it's not a piece of paper, it's a book. Because there are a lot of different layers to what it would mean to break away. Now, there's a couple things you could mean by that. You really could mean we're going to take the entire book. Every page in this thing, we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to break away. Or, and this is kind of what he said, it could be a case-by-case thing. There could be certain layers, certain pages of governance that we take on ourselves, that we think we're more suited to handle than the NCAA itself. And it's a case-by-case thing. I think that's what he was talking about. Okay. Because really, when you walk through it, David, even think outside of football for a second. If you walk through what it would mean if a league like the SEC really did break away, what does March Madness look like? What does the College World Series look like? I mean, think about the other sports that are mainly tournament-based, especially basketball. Look, you don't even you have a March Madness, but it's absent one of the power conferences. It'd be so stupid. Right. And it's stupid to arrive at that point. And I'm not saying that about Greg Sankey. I'm saying the entire situation right now. It's so dumb that we get here, but yet you get here because there's no There's no one in charge. There are a bunch of individuals in charge of things, but there's no, centralized authority, which has been what you and I talked about probably 20 times since we've known each other on air and off air. So whether it's via collective bargaining, whether it's via Congress, it seems like something's got to come to a head here pretty soon.
Do you think it comes to a head here pretty soon? And by pretty soon, are we talking about by this recess, or are you talking about the next 5 years?
I think it's closer to the next 5 months than the next 5 years.
Okay.
Because you see, what happens is when you have, so this could be a 20-minute answer, but I'll condense it. When you have conversations like limiting the amount of teams that can move, just as an example, that's been one part of this. Well, anybody out there who had conference realignment on their radar knows our clock just got massively sped up. So anyone who was thinking we'll make a move in the next 5 years, all of a sudden says, we got to go now. Because if that law gets put into place, then we may not be able to go where we thought we were going to go. Okay, so that's part one. Part two is the minute that Senate bill got presented, I said that the entire purpose of this thing is really to pull one over on the SEC and the Big Ten. Now, that may not work, but what it will do is it will create negotiation. That's the way bills always work. It's just we don't normally worry about them because we're in the college football world. That's what's happening right now. As you and I speak, that's what's in the process of happening. We'll see what that yields. We'll see if the Big Ten and the SEC get enough of what they want to finally endorse the thing. Then it has to pass the Senate. Then it has to pass the House. Then we find out, does this stand up to legal scrutiny, or are they just back in a courtroom again in 2 years? Fingers crossed, hope not. We'll see. And then there's the other group out there that says, no, the only way to get sustainable change is to collectively bargain it. Well, okay, then how do you do that? What's the structure of that? Who serves as the players' union? Right. All sorts of things. And I've also had a third rail to that, which has been, is there any involvement from the NFL? Does the NFL have any responsibility in that? Do they have any place in it? Just a bunch of questions with no answers right now.
Josh, I'm going to play a game with you real quick. I'm going to ask you, this team will make the playoff if, or they will not make it if. It might be the same answer, okay? Mm-hmm. So Texas A&M makes the playoff if, and they don't make it, why?
They don't. The why they wouldn't make it would just be inconsistency at quarterback. Okay. They would make it because the two hallmarks that I pointed out to you the day Mike Elko got hired and every time we've talked since then of evaluation and development being a premium as part of the package you get with him, those shine through. So a lot of new faces on the offensive line, and they just play like they're supposed to. Collectively, the output of that team reflects the investment in the talent roster. Now, Texas A&M is so funny because you guys know, anyone watching or listening to this knows the kind of investment there is in that team. There's some good football players there. But it's weird how they're kind of anonymously good.
Yeah.
I think it's because...
Is it their history?
I think it's partly that. And I think it's because if you look down the road, Arch Manning's down there. So that's just a name everyone knows. And I think at the end of the day, expectation is still tied to star names.
Yep.
And outside of coach, because Mike won't play a down this year, I don't think, it's, do we know your quarterback? Well, people know Marcel, but their lasting image of him is those last couple of games last year. So they're not fully bought in on him. So if you don't have a bunch of stars, as the public defines them, and you don't have the track record, which is the difference between an Ohio State and an A&M. Ohio State's replacing a ton. But since they've won a lot recently...
You get the benefit of the doubt.
There's no problem with that.
Right.
Because ultimately words don't matter anyway. So I do think that, eval and development. If it's there, A&M will be in contention for everything at the end of the year.
Texas makes it. Why? They don't make it. Why?
Well, if they make it, it's just because they overwhelmed people with what should be the best talent roster in the country this year. And they just followed through on that. Offensive line and collective DNA of that team gained a notch physically.
Yep.
That needs to happen. If they don't, it'll be because Sark continued to struggle in those one-possession type situations. We had a stat on the show the other day. It may be a popular stat. I never know which ones are and aren't known. I assume you guys probably do know this. His record in one-possession games against ranked teams.
Oh, yeah.
What is it, like 6-12 or something like that? So that can't continue. Because even at your best, you're going to be in, especially if you make the playoff, like you're going to be in a bunch of one-possession games against premier teams or comparable rosters that could challenge you. And you just got to make one more play than they do.
Yep. What Texas fans will point out is, well, beat A&M, and they were a top 10 team.
Okay.
And that's true.
That is,
and A&M has to be better at the end of the year. But, okay, let me ask you that, and we can kind of close out with that. A&M being better at the end of the year. For everybody, it's winning that last game. That's what everybody wants. But what does A&M being better at the end of the year look like to you? Because I would maintain that, the schedule got harder. And also, but there were still signs of it in the South Carolina game, right? Signs, even though the second half was great. So what does playing better at the end of the season with that gauntlet they're about to face look like in Josh Pate's eyes?
It looks like taking care of business in February when no one's watching. It's taking care of business in July when no one's watching. Do you remember that Baylor-Oklahoma State Big 12 title game a few years ago? It came down to the last play.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Oklahoma State has the ball. It's 21-16. Oklahoma State has the ball. It's 1st and goal inside the 5-yard line. They have 4 shots at winning the Big 12 title. Comes down to 4th and short. And it's a sprint out to the
left, yeah.
And the Baylor kid has a fraction of enough step to make sure that kid doesn't get the pylon. That play is a perfect microcosm of the cumulative effect of individual days where you handle your business. Because that kid never knew that it was going to come down to that moment. Their entire season was going to come down to that moment. But yet he took care of his business in February. He didn't show up late to voluntary workouts in July.
Right.
It's not like one day you do good work and all of a sudden you're capable of this or that. It is a very small cumulative effect. It's like watching an ice cube freeze in real time. There's no one moment it's frozen. It's just all of a sudden you look an hour later, oh, it froze.
It froze, yeah.
That's how you win close games late in the season. It's a process.
My brother, thank you.
Absolutely.
Great seeing you, all right?
Yes, sir.
That's the great Josh Pate here. We'll hit a break. I think we'll run something as I run over to the A&M interviews, but right now we're talking Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, and online at CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. If you're looking for a new vehicle, Caldwell Country Chevrolet is the place to go. If you've got a vehicle and you're thinking about a trade-in, why don't you go there? They're always looking to add to their lot, which means they pay top dollar for your vehicle. It's good people. Got Aggies all over the place there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They're going to make sure that you get the best customer service possible. And every purchase comes with that free oil change for life. Remember, it's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the good people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com.
Welcome back in TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner Jewelers here in Tampa. Where are we? How's brain fart there? We're in Tampa. It's presented by Paragon Financial Advisors here live on Digital Drive. The rest of the crew, they're off to the local media scrum for Texas A&M. So keep it posted on TexAgs on Twitter, on our website, Instagram. The crew there has got you covered. They left me here at Radio Row all by myself, and I know you don't want to listen to that, so what we're going to do is play you a little bit of our interview with Cole Kublik. He stopped by the booth yesterday, so he and David Nuno chatted for about 13 minutes. So here, check it out. Here's Cole Kublik and David Nuno.
All right, welcome back into TexAgs Live. SEC Media Days brought to you by Paragon Financial Advisors. Cole Kublik of the SEC Network and ESPN with us. Cole, what's up, buddy?
How much money is Paragon spending? Because no one brings more equipment than TexAgs.
And people.
I think it's the SEC Network, TexAgs, CBS.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, take your pick of some maybe local radio show as far as money spent to get here. How many bags did you guys have to check to get all this junk here is what I need to know first and foremost.
I will tell you this little tidbit. Paragon Financial, one of their head honchos is Stephen McGee, former A&M quarterback.
He's a good player.
Really good player. He's on our show every week. So Stephen's kind of spearheading this SEC trip. And, of course, that includes probably part of Billy's per diem and his spending at night.
Got it. Where is Billy? He's scared to come on this segment?
True story. I think we told him, right? Yeah, we told him he's at the beach.
Doesn't care.
No, he cares.
Cole's
he wanted
coming
to be
on.
with you.
So what?
It's always fun with Billy on here and you guys. But I wanted to start things off with A&M's offensive line. I know that, first off, I don't know what we call it on Twitter or X, appointment viewing, but when you break down teams every week during the season, it is appointment reading on my behalf. A&M's got a brand new offensive line. It might be some studs that have been growing up. Sure. It might be the transfers. What everybody worries about is gelling. So if you could start us off on how it takes an offensive line, if you got the talent in the SEC to gel, like how that works if they're new to each other.
The first thing is reps. You have to get reps together. And that's one of the things I think it might be the most difficult thing in today's college football. You'll hear me talk about leadership, experience, continuity, togetherness. If there was a word that I could roll all that into as one, that's what I would try to do. I don't really know what that word would be. The only way to get good at blocking and tackling is to do it against people that are trying to make you look bad. Mm-hmm. In other words, do it full speed. Now, sometimes that's not taking a running back to the ground, or sometimes that's not full tackle, but it's got to be pretty close to full speed in pads. It can't be out there in helmets, shuffling around, trying to get in people's way. Now, I will say this, schematically, there are some things you can do to aid in that. And that could be just remove some thought from the system, call it and run it, so to speak. So, hey, we're running inside zone on this play. Now, you can check it to the right or to the left within how your cadence or what you do or just based on the look. But simplify things to where you can allow those guys to fire off the football and know, hey, we're working this combo block. You're coming off to that linebacker. There's no ifs, ands, buts. Let's just do that, try to get good at that. It takes time to do it because not only are these players not together for 3, 4, 5 years anymore, we've removed so much of the full pad practice and the physical practices that, honestly, I use the first 3 weeks of the season as part of my measuring stick of what these teams might end up being because it's really extended practice a lot of times. And I don't mean that as to who the level of opponent is or anything like that. I'm talking conference games. You're still trying to figure out what you have and who you are and who you can be. The good news for the A&M offensive line, you're bringing in a lot of guys that know the speed, know the physicality, just know what it takes to go out there and do it. As you stated, it doesn't mean it'll be good right off the bat. But I do think there's some inherent advantage that guys that have at least been in the battles in this league, they're going to come be a part of that offensive line. And then with Nebu right there in the middle, I think that's a great starting point to say, hey, this is how we've done it here. And he can probably be that leader to be able to solidify things moving forward.
What about being at the right place? So, you talk to Alabama fans, they weren't so happy with Wilkin Formby, what they saw on film. Trevon Boss coming from South Carolina. The fact that Adam Cushing's done a good job at A&M with some homegrown guys, but also some transfers in the mix as well. How much could that play a role in this?
I would say to Alabama fans, and I get it, but you were probably happy when you signed him.
Yeah.
Because of what his rating was coming out of high school. Trayvon Baugh, I have heard multiple South Carolina coaches, offensive line coaches, rave about his talent and his ability. So as you stated, a lot of times I'm trying to get away from the word fit because we've seen so many coaches that look like the exact fit in certain places, and it just didn't. Like, there's no better fit for Arkansas than Sam Pittman. There's no better fit for LSU than Ed Orgeron, and they just didn't work.
Right.
Everybody thought Hugh Freeze was going to be a great fit at Auburn. It didn't work. But I do think comfort is something that's real that you can talk about, and that is how you're being coached, how you're being communicated with, what the expectation is. You may have a coach that says, hey, our meeting's at 8, and all of a sudden he's one of those guys that if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late. And you just don't jive with that. Or you might have a guy that grabs you every once in a while by the face mask, whatever it is, and that's just not your speed, not your cup of tea. You're not going to be okay with that. Other players may thrive on that environment. I think Elko is going to have that from the top down of this is how we run our program, this is the expectation, this is what we want you to do and expect you to do. And a lot of the players can share that with others. It's one of my big concerns about what's going to be gone from this football team is I think you had some guys that knew that sort of lived that in that uniform. You got to make sure you go find more of those, or more of those develop within your program. But I think the expectation of how it's going to be wherever you are, and I talk about this with head coaches all the time, relatability. You've got to relate to today's player, and that can be technique, fundamentals, coaching. That can be when to jump a guy, when not to jump a guy. Like, that relatability goes further than just, hey, do you like talking to me in recruiting?
Right. A couple years ago, we did an interview when Elko was hired, and you were high on him. So after 2 years, 1 playoff berth, has he exceeded your expectations about what you thought? What's your read on Elko?
Yeah, I'd say let's not be Alabama fans, okay, because they want to fire Kalen DeBoer for winning a road playoff game last year. All right, so we were in the playoffs. We're happy with that. I understand that unless you get a national championship, none of us can celebrate anything in college football anymore. I get it. He's by far exceeded expectations. I thought things would be good. I thought that they would be competitive. I thought there would be aspects of it that we really liked. He's in the college football playoff last year, and going into November, had a chance to be a much higher seed than he was. So he puts himself in play in one of the best spots in college football at the end of the year last year. What more can you ask for? Now, yes, go out and beat Texas. Want to see that. Go out and beat Miami at home in a playoff game. Of course, it was great. The environment was still incredible. I think the weather played some factors in that game. A couple bounces didn't go your way, but I think he's got this the high school recruiting. I don't follow it closely, but from the way that I do, it looks like it has not fallen off much with him. I'm not going to say it's gotten better because Jimbo signed the class of the decade, whatever it was, but the portal recruiting, he's had a lot of hits through the portal. And here's what I love is when you get a portal guy that maybe not everybody was just licking their chops over, and he comes in and helps your program be better, that's when you know that the understanding of evaluation and what your program may need is at a high level. And I think Coach Elko's got all those things aligned right now.
Well, people did not know Cassius Howell, and, the guy was the best player, defensive player. Right.
I mean, yeah, I love to see a coach that says he fits what we do. We think we can make him better in how we do it, and then it works. So, and he's been able to do that. He did it at Duke. He's done it at A&M. So, yeah, I would say ahead of schedule for sure.
And then Marcel Reed, a lot of people point out what happened at the end of the season. I'd like to talk about the total body of work. What did you see from Marcel throughout the year?
Explosive, exciting, dynamic, lacked some consistency. And if that comes along, he can be a very special college football quarterback. I think he's already a very good college football quarterback. But when you start talking to the elite status in the discussion for best in the nation.
You want the rest of that? Here I am. If you want the rest. I pulled a David Nuno. I put on the wrong headset. That's embarrassing. If you want to catch the rest of that Cole Kublik interview, it'll be on TexAgs.com. We got to go. Louis Bellina up next, but keep it posted on TexAgs.com and all of our social platforms for everything you need from SEC Media Days. We'll catch you tomorrow.